lot can happen in a decade. Dynasties can rise, and they can fall.
Michigan makes a stand!
Miracles may be witnessed. Tears can be shed from joy or from pain. Dreams can be crushed, or they can come true.
Welcome in, everybody. Welcome to the show, man. This could be fireworks, man. I saw you jamming in the back.
Yeah, man, that intro, man. I'm ready to suit up. I still got about a 5-yard curry in me. That's all I got in me, though. About a 5-yard curry. Man.
Hey, man, College Football Rush, episode 49. This one is a special one. It would have been cool if it was episode 50, but it is what it is. It is what it is, man. We're gonna stick to 49. Who was some cool players that were number 49? Carson Schlesinger from last year? Wasn't he 49?
Was he 49? Was Schlesinger 49?
Or is he 49 right now? I can't remember, man. 49 is such a ugly number.
Yeah, such an odd number, man. I can't think of anybody that wore 49. Not even, growing up and watching that, anybody of any. It's just one of them jerseys you get handed. It's not something you pick.
It's not your first choice. It's like your fifth choice, and you ain't really got the choice by that time. It's just like, hey, man, you got any numbers in the 40? Yeah, we got 49. All right, damn. I got to wear this. Shots fired. Man. Welcome in, everybody. I see the chat's falling in. We got my man Elijah's in the chat. Chewy, what up, man? I saw JDW. He came through. My man Don the Stats Guru will be back tomorrow. NFL Rush. I know y'all can't wait to see him, man. And did I already say Elijah? Yeah, Elijah's here too, man. Hey, appreciate you guys following in. If you guys didn't know, man, special episode. If you saw the governor and the handoff series that I was doing, he is back to go through this thing once again with me, man. College football. What's the one saying that you said at the end of the show?
What? No more victories?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. The sport that survived and advanced. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
We truly live that with college football. I can't believe that, like, each week has gotten better. It's weird. Like, every week I say it can't get better than last week. And then week 4 was phenomenal. And then week 5, I hated, it happened to you all, but that Friday night game was incredible, man. Incredible. You had an outstanding tweet that day, too.
The one thing about the Florida State loss, and we'll get into it, I'm always conflicted, right? Because, like, I love football so much that it's, like, even hard for me to root for my team sometimes when I'm riding so high for an individual player like Chandler Morris. We talked about him a little bit. And for the 1%ers out there that know about Chandler Morris's, like, his whole journey from TCU to North Texas for a couple of years, and now he's back in the Power 4. It's amazing to see. I think he's a top 3 quarterback. Like, when you really look at it from a scouting perspective, like he's got the moxie and the guts of somebody like Haynes King, but he's got the poise of a Josh Hoover. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think he's fantastic. But we'll get into that, man. Let's get into the topic breakdown for today. What's holding Penn State back, man? We got a lot to say on this. We was actually chatting about this. I was like, we got to shut up, man.
The green room was actually fantastic, and it's some of the best conversation we have on Overreaction Monday happens in the green room. So, the conversation we was having, like you said, is like one of those things we got to save it for the show.
Yeah.
Only thing that I could think of was going on with this team, because it's not that I completely hate Andy Kotelnicki's system. It's just like, why sometimes does it take so long for them to get it going? Like, they were down, 17-3 heading into the 4th. Then there was a couple of drives in there that they looked pretty good. But I think it's in order to kind of figure out what's going on with the president, I think we need to go back a little bit to see what happened recently. So before him, it was Mike Yurcich from 21 to 23. Now he's the offensive coordinator at Youngstown State. It's a lateral move, right? Kirk Ciarrocca, if you remember him, he's now offensive coordinator at Rutgers. Once again, that's a lateral move. Tyler Bowen, who was at Virginia Tech, he was abysmal at Virginia Tech, and I mean just absolutely awful there. He's the offensive line coach. I believe he's currently at Ohio State. That's a lateral move, in my opinion, even though he's with a better program. Ricky Rain was before then. He's head coach at, Old Dominion. We'll call it progressive. They're doing a pretty good job this season, so I'll give him that. Joe Moorhead is, he was head coach at Mississippi State. It was progressive, but he was fired in year 2, and now he's struggling at Akron, right? So we say it's progressive to lateral, right? And then before that, it was, John Donovan, who is essentially an analyst at Jacksonville a year later, which I think is a lateral move as well. So you start looking at this, and then you start really thinking about it into the root of what's wrong with Penn State. Some of that starts to say, well, how involved is James Franklin with this thing? Because, you got coaches who are rooted in there. I know you've been to some fall camps. You've been to some training camps. Now, whether a coach decides to give up the play calling duties, sometimes it's neither here nor there. But if you monitor them, they always find their way somehow near the offense. I caught Zach Kittley doing it at FAU's fall camp. Granted, he is he does call the plays for FAU, but you're the head coach. You can't spend all of your time next to the quarterbacks. Now, what I'm saying? I can't tell him how to run his program. But I said that to say this. I don't know if James Franklin is involved. He might be overly too involved because he understands the X's and O's on the offensive side of the ball. So I'm not sure, not trying to make excuses for anyone, but Penn State definitely has an 𝗕𝘂𝘀𝗀𝘀 problem. But I'm trying to figure out what's the root cause. Is it rooted in James Franklin being overbearing, or is it rooted in you just not being able to get the job done? So I don't know what your opinion is on that, but I had to go back to bring us to the present.
Yeah. Well, it's fantastic because you kind of laying the groundwork for, me going a little bit back on Andy Kotelnicki, because I think he's the major problem in this whole thing. And when you look at the statistics of like a Drew Aller, for example, 7 for 113, 62% completion percentage for a quarterback of his stature, you're just like, man, there's no way. A 5-star kid, one of probably the best recruit that James Franklin has ever gotten his tenure. 763 yards, 6 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and 69 rushing yards. And up to this point, you're kind of just like, well, we even got Adam Childs, which we're going to get into a little bit later. That's got 9 touchdowns for 1 interception in a rising program in Michigan State.
Sure.
Jonathan Smith is doing this thing up there. But you wouldn't, if you were to put a stat line of what Adam Childs has and Drew Aller at this point at the beginning of the season and said, who's going to have this stat line? And as of week 6, you probably say Drew Aller, but no.
You would say Drew Aller 100%. Yeah.
Drew Aller leads the program in career completion percentage at 63.6%, which is that's a stat on its own that just blows your mind. So they've never been known for, you can even go back to the Kerry Collins days. They've never been known as like a great passing school, and he's 3rd in career passing touchdowns with 50. Yeah. I think when you really look at Andy Kotelnicki week to week, and we talked about this back in the green room, stop with these design runs with Drew Aller. Tell him to stop running and run the damn ball with the 2 fantastic running backs that you got.
Exactly.
Did you know that Nick Singleton has not had a rush over 16 yards this season?
That's a stat. That's one hell of a stat. No, I did not know that.
Drew Aller's longest pass was 42 yards, and that was to Devontae Ross against FIU.
And they've played some poor teams, so that's pretty bad.
Exactly my point right there. And then the offensive line, those guys came together last year and said, we're going to come back. We're going to come back. K-Tron and Nick said, we coming back. They go into transfer portal. They get Trevor Pena, who we knew was an amazing talent up there at Syracuse. They're going to get Devontae Ross, who's on an upward trajectory, having the Tez Johnson type parallel right there. And then you go and get Kyron Hudson, who we all knew was a talent that said, okay, we can come over and I can get you some great grabs like I got at USC. And I hate to go against coaching because you got your own playbook. I got my own playbook behind the scenes. And we understand the X's and O's of this thing. And I'm not going to sit here and call Andy Kotelnicki a total idiot for what he's doing. But by God, man, why did you go and get all these weapons for them not to eat? Why do you not give the ball to Nick Singleton more than what he's gotten this season? It's almost like they are struggling to find the balance that is just not there. This team looks like it's this is going to be a crazy analogy, but it looks like the star quarterback of a high school team and the pretty cheerleader that everybody likes on the cheerleading squad. But in reality, the relationship doesn't work outside of looks because they really have nothing in common.
Right. At all.
That's what this offense looks like to me.
Mm-hmm.
It's just amazing. So I think Kotelnicki's trying to get, and we talked, to my man Colin Chrissy, who covers the Penn State Nittany Lions, on a daily basis. And one thing that he likes about Kotelnicki is the way that he's creative. But the thing is,
he's really creative.
The thing is, I think he's too creative for a pro-style quarterback like Drew. Mm-hmm. And then we talked about this in the green room too. Let's go back to his Kansas days. You could get creative with a Jalen Daniels. You can get creative with a Jason Bean, who I think was one of the best backup quarterbacks of all time, in my opinion.
He was really incredible. Yep.
If you were going to do this with Drew, why didn't you keep 𝗕𝘂𝘀𝗶𝗲𝘀 and tell Drew to go and walk? Because he seems like more of the quarterback that you'd want on your team.
That's interesting. Yep.
So I don't know how you feel about that, but that's just I just don't see it, man.
Right now. Nah, I'm with you 100%. Something has got to change, and the thing that kind of bothers me about Penn State is, other than how creative that they got with Tyler Warren, and they will give you some exotic looks from time to time in Andy Kotelnicki's system. They are built to play with the lead. They're not built to play from behind. There's been one game where I really saw Andy Kotelnicki scheme up. Remember when they got down versus USC a year ago, and they had to play from behind, and I saw him really scheme up. But how different, from an optics perspective, how different does Andy Kotelnicki's system looks from, your chicks when he had Sean Clifford at quarterback? Like, how different does it look? And I think you did a great job talking about the history of Penn State not really having elite quarterbacks. Like Drew Aller is it. I think who's the closest to him? Is it Tracy McSorley? Yeah, Christian Hackenberg, who stud as a freshman, but just kind of like fell off. So
yeah,
it's interesting what's going on there. Can they make the playoff? Is it an overreaction to say that, hey, that tape is out, people want to follow the Oregon blueprint? And what a waste of the whiteout game. What an absolute waste of that game, bro. The fans deserve better.
They deserve better and you could see the talent just oozing off of some of these kids, man. Like, just give them the opportunity. But here's one of those things that drives me nuts. I want to see more first down runs. I do. I don't want to see Drew Aller on 3rd and 3 taking the ball at the middle. He has an 11-2 ratio on deep balls thrown past 20 yards this season. He has an on-target percentage on deep balls 20-plus yards downfield of 86%. If he's such an analytical guy, if that doesn't scream like, let me throw the rock downfield, I don't know what does. And here's a crazy thing, right? This defense is fantastic. Jim Knowles again has showed you that we're giving the ball back to our offense in every chance that we can get. They're the number 1 scoring defense. It drives me crazy. The total defense is 8th. What are we doing? The Russian defense is 28th. Passive defense is 8th. It's like you look at these things like that. Their passing defense being 8th, that's always been kind of like the Achilles heel in big moments with Penn State. And Jim Knowles has come there and said, I've dealt with the Caleb Downs. I've done with the Davidson Igbenosons of the world. This is something that I can bring there. And he's definitely brought that to Penn State. But the one thing I can't say about this defense, if you want to say, okay, what's the Achilles heel of all this? It sounds good on paper that you're saying these are the rankings. The defense only generated 1 sack.
I was about to say pass rush. Yes. I agree. That game was super frustrating to watch, man. Dan Lanning, did you see him before the game? Did you see he had the one tear coming down his eyes? He's looking at his players like he's just so locked in. If you are Penn State's general manager for a day, who would you say you're more ready to get rid of? Is it James Franklin? He's done a lot of winning there. We know the awful 4-21 record versus top 10 teams. Who would you want to get rid of first? Is it James Franklin? Is it Andy Kotelnicki, or is it both?
I'd say both.
You say both?
And it's one of those things where it's like, if you're a two loss team, one loss team every single year going into a playoff, because that's what James Franklin, he's going to get you anywhere from 1 to 3 losses a year.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to see him go undefeated, but that's a good team. Anybody would wish to have that team in the Power Four. And most conferences, sometimes that gets you a bid to play for your conference championship game. In today's game, where everybody's playing everybody and you're still showing the same colors and you're still embarrassing yourself in whiteout games, and you have your defense is keeping a high-powered team. You know me, I love Will Stein. I'll tell you all day, Will Stein is going to be a head coach after this year.
Oh, absolutely.
And if there was no other game to tell you that he was going to be a head coach, it was this one against Penn State. They kept Oregon's team to 17 points the whole game, and that's the reason why they went into overtime. To me, that's a coaching issue. You were not dialing up enough big plays, and as a head coach, if I'm a coordinator, I want my head coach to be like, dude, throw the analytics out the window. We got to get Drew the ball, and he's got to get the ball downfield. Why are we not trusting the 3 guys that we got here? And on 3rd and short, let's run the damn ball. Kshawn's been amazing this year. I mean, how many 20 and 30-plus yard runs has he had since 2 years ago? He's been the one. We talk about Nick Singleton so much, but he's really been the one that's had the brightest moments over the last couple years.
That's one of the things that in our message rooms that, I think it is unanimous that we all prefer Kshawn Allen over Nick Singleton. And it's been that way probably the last 16 or 17 months that we preferred him over Nick Singleton.
Yeah. I really and truly, when people say, oh, they're 2 second-round quarterback or running backs, if you gave me the choice as a GM right now, I'm probably choosing Kshawn.
I'm with you.
He's just silently in the back, just looking at everybody say how talented Nick is. We understand Nick in open space is a demon.
Oh, yeah.
But you got to get there first. Kshawn's doing all the dirty work. That's what it feels like. Every single time, could catch really well out of the backfield. Man, we could go on and on and on about Penn State, but the real question is like you were saying, is this team ready for a college football playoff berth? And as of right now, I have my reservations, and I feel like a complete idiot for having them as my – I thought literally, truly, they're going to be a one-loss team going to the college football playoff and winning the national championship.
I'm there with you. I looked at the return of production. I looked at, these guys saying, come on, let's give it one more try. Let's come back this year and let's really lock in. This game was embarrassing. I will say Dante Moore I think is better than advertised. He played great. What was it? 243 yards, 3 touchdowns, was just absolute clutch in overtime. And I don't know. Who's your favorite to win it all right now? Is it Oregon? After what we see this past weekend?
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say this: if Alabama and Florida State were to play again, I think Alabama crushes them this time. I really see Alabama as probably the best team in the country.
Wow, I like that. I like that a lot. We gonna find out where they at this week. They gonna be hungry for this Vandy game. That'd be interesting. But you know what I'm saying, I know we got a lot more to talk about today. Like you said, we're gonna talk about this Penn State thing all day, man.
Yeah. So I mean, if you guys are down on Penn State right now, I get it, but there's not a better fork in the road for Penn State to turn their season around than the loss that they just took at home in an embarrassing fashion. When it could have been a lot closer than it was. And one last point I'll make about Drew Aller before we get out of here. If anybody's blaming that interception on Drew Aller at the end of that game, I'm sorry. Thieneman just came up and made a huge play. That's why they got him out the portal. We've been waiting for this moment out of him too.
Right.
Because he's been kind of quiet up to this point. But Thieneman just went. There's no other player in the country outside of probably Caleb Downs right now that would have extended that far up and got that interception. I got the idea, and I would have. And we put, the tweet that you're talking about with James Franklin. Shame on James Franklin for just taking 2 seconds of his time to be like, head up, and then just walk away.
Hey, facts, dog. Facts.
I wouldn't want to. If I was Drew, I'd be completely checked out. I'm like, dude, I just went out there and laid it all on the line, and I made the right decision. And this guy just totally just took our spirits away. And the only thing you got to tell me is head up. Like, dude, our season, people are going to talk about us badly this week, and I'm your quarterback. I can't get 30 seconds of your time to be like, look, man, great game. Put your arm around them. You know, he just kind of like head up and then just walk past him. Drew's like, that's all you got to say to me, dog? I thought that was in poor taste, man. It pissed me off when I saw that.
Yeah, I know. I love that tweet the moment that I saw it. But yeah, James Franklin continued to disappoint. I saw somebody put something in the comment section, and it was a great comment about how well he recruits. It's not hard to recruit there. It's not at all. It's not. Penn State sells itself. You just saw Ohio State and Michigan went back-to-back championships. Penn State has the talent. Obviously, they can get yeah.
I think Penn State in its own is not only is that campus beautiful, the tradition is beautiful there. Like, you had the support of the boosters, like big time. There's a lot of big time players that have played there, and just strapping up that that navy and white is awesome. Like, they have one of the best atmospheric games in the country.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of selling points to being there. So all you have to do is just be a good enough recruiter. I mean, James Franklin's been a fantastic recruiter outside of the fact that the dude never recruits really good wide receivers. And a lot of people are like, Jahan Dotson, Allen Robinson. Man, them dudes have been long gone by now. If those are the only two that you can point out,
right.
People want to give credit to Keandre Lambert-Smith, but he was buns when he was there. He went to Auburn and he became good.
Right, he started cooking. Yeah.
So I don't know what it is, man. Like, it's just hard to say when you got a team that's so good like Ohio State when it comes to wide receivers, on how bad that Penn State recruits their own state. Their own state. Ohio State's not going and grabbing anything from Pennsylvania.
Not at all.
You letting everybody else come and grab all your talent? That's nasty work, man. I don't know. I'm not a believer in James Franklin like everybody else. I think his leash should be extremely short after this game.
It should be. Who is there anybody you can see like right now? It'll be a progressive move for them that would be a good fit there in Happy Valley?
Oh, man. The only one that just keeps running in my mind, man, and a lot of people on Twitter tried to slam me for it because I thought he'd be a good one for Virginia Tech, is Willie Fritz. I feel like Willie Fritz and Jim Knowles get Kotelnicki out of there. I don't know, try to promote from within or something. I'm always a big fan of promoting from within, especially during adversity. You've seen it just not work. Yeah. And you understand that, like, I got a big decision to make here. You know, I gotta be the guy. But I like Willie Fritz there at Penn State. I think he'd bring back the juice that they're looking for.
And he's doing a phenomenal job in H-Town right now. Phenomenal job. Great at Tulane as well.
But you know who would be the ultimate? And a lot of people might not agree with me, but he'd be closer to back home to where he came from. Jimbo Fisher.
Jimbo Fisher? Is he calling plays?
No.
Yeah, that would be my only reservation. That would be it. Other than that, I don't think that'll be a bad hire at all because he can recruit really well.
And he can find coordinators all the time.
Did it at Florida State, and then, like you said, he can find him a good coordinator. I wouldn't be mad at that at all.
Yeah, because if you want to keep the recruiting as high as it is, I mean, how many people did Jimbo Fisher put in the NFL year after year after year? Right. And he's definitely going to find a wide receiver.
Yeah, and then he'll get them to spend the money that they need to spend. What was Texas A&M number one recruiting class? What was it, 2022? If I'm not mistaken. So
Shamar Stewart and all those guys. Yeah. Your boy Walter Nolan before he went out to Ole Miss.
To Ole Miss, yeah, that's my dog.
a nice Peebles before he went to Virginia Tech. Man, that's good.
Yeah, it was a mass exodus, bro, and everybody seen it coming like that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Stage left, and it was a quick, fast snap in a hurry, but.
Hey, man, before we get into everything, you know, we had to get through that first topic because we just had to get off our chest. But let everybody know where they can find you, man. You know, some of the things that both of us partake in, you know, but, you know, some of the things that you do for the college football community.
So I love college football first and foremost, and I enjoy talking to you. I actually meet you in person for the first time this weekend at the Maryland game. Can't wait
Yep.
for that. But you can find me on Twitter at Leverett_KT. YouTube is at Governor of College Football or at THECFB Nation, THECFBNation.com. I'm on Rumble as well. Just Governor of College Football everywhere. You can search that, and I think what we do is super important. And I respect people who work. Like, my dog Dante at VCG, he's always working. I seen him at like 2 or 3 training camps, a couple of preseason games. And I'm
My
like,
wife
dang,
was
he working.
my wife was tired too. She's like, I'm just along for the ride. I'm tired. Like,
So you was put in that work, man. Shout out to my dog SC Romero with Devi. What's the name of the joint he with? But man, they be working too. So I just respect people who work, man, and who care about it and as passionate as we are about it, man. But I think where I align with you though is it's how you package everything. This the production that you do. This is TV style production, and I'm always respect that.
I appreciate that. Yeah, and you can follow us right there on the socials on X. I got the handles right below us there, Leverett_KT on X, and then ECG_FB as in football on X for me as well. So if you guys like what you're hearing, definitely go over there and support them on this full journey. We're doing a lot of people like to frown upon new media, man, but we're the real media. I tell the story all the time. If you guys haven't heard this before, I finally got somebody up here that can support this. All the stuff that you guys see in the media, especially at the Senior Bowl and all that, and I talk about my boy with the cowboy hat all the time. You know who I'm talking about. My boy with the cowboy hat there where he used to work for the Draft Network. This dude will go on there on Twitter and post a whole monologue on what he saw that day. But for 3/4 of the time, he's sitting there talking with people, just walking up and down the field. So I'm like, how do you know all this, bro? Like, you got some minion just with you, just like watching everything for you. It's cat, man. It's a real cat. When you got us down there with notebooks and everything, like really about this life. This is how I find people like Byron Young there for the Rams. And he's like the #1 defensive player in sacks, I believe, right now, and having a better season than Jared Verse.
That's crazy.
How do you find those guys? Because you pay attention. He was making a grass screen under beneath his feet, man. So yeah,
it's incredible what you see. But yeah, I think real recognize real, and it's a lot. It's so easy now. Jadakiss had a bar. It's easy now. All you need is a Pro Tools kit. Like, it's so easy to make this. But, to be passionate about it, to continue to constantly put out content and take the time and attention that it needs, like you said, having your notebook at Senior Bowl, taking these credential events serious and just killing it, dude. Like, we got so much respect from the Big 12 this year. Yeah. So much respect from them. So much respect from the American. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if you see some type of collaboration with the American and CFB Nation next year. Wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, I definitely got to get out to one of those events. The only thing is like, it happens in the middle of the week, and I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah,
I can make it, but I don't really want to spend the PTO and do that because I got some other things I want to do. Like, college football season happens all year round for guys like us. So
it really does. It's difficult. You know what I'm saying? Even making the decision that I made, well, I'm just gonna pursue this thing. However it happens, it happens. But
Yeah, man. So let's get over to the next topic. This one is near and dear to my heart because we're talking about the Noles. And I've been very critical of Tommy Castellanos, not only through the whole process of, we're going to call it like it is, he quit on this team after he got benched in that Syracuse game. When, homie had to make an ultimate decision and move on to the next quarterback that, obviously doesn't have the hot hand now because he got who he truly wanted. But Tommy enters the transfer portal, switches in that garnet and gold for the other garnet and gold.
Right.
And he did what he did in that first game. And I remember you asking me how you feel about your team, dog. And I'm like, I've got my reservations. I got my reservations because we're riding the hot hand, but I see some holes in our game. And those holes came up against Virginia, and they looked good the whole time. To be honest, this game shouldn't even been that close. Neither should we have lost in the fashion that we lost. And for everybody that's arguing that catch, it wasn't a catch. It wasn't. By the time his foot was going out of bounds, the ball had a little bit of gap between both of his hands. Deuce Robinson is an otherworldly talent. He made one mistake, but you can't hang your head on that mistake because it's a team effort at the end of the day. So this loss will never fall on his shoulders, in my opinion. It's a whole team effort, and Mike Norvell and those guys have got to get these guys to be better and stop believing the hype. And there's nothing more than let's just listen to what Thomas Castellanos himself had to say.
I think we needed it. I think guys are riding high, feeling it, kind of smelling ourselves, feeling good. A little adversity. I think we respond and, bounce back, we have to really quick here. But I think we needed it. I think it'd be good for us moving forward. I think it'll just push us and make us work harder and continue to play harder.
I got a lot to say. That's such a BS thing to say at this point in his career. I would expect a true freshman to say that. I would expect Marcel Reed last year to say that about a tough loss at Texas A&M. I don't expect a guy that's been in college football for forever, that's been on two different teams, that knows what taking a tough loss would be after he beat Florida State. He's beaten Florida State before themselves and understands how the small games that seem small on the surface are really the bigger games because they have a bigger impact on your season when it comes down to deciding who's going to be those 12 teams at the later part of the year. You've just been in this long enough to know, man. In college, you have no cushion. So to say that, we deserve this, this could be the thing that people are going to be talking about all year long. If you take another loss or two more losses, you might not even sniff a conference championship or a college football championship. It's really conflicting with me on his original comments about beating teams like Alabama, but then you fluff against Virginia.
That's a great take.
So what's your take on this, man?
It's a lot to unpack. Now, I have had the opportunity to talk to Thomas Castellanos on two different occasions. The first occasion was at the 2023 ACC Media Days. This was in the breakout room. You already know how that works. And we was just talking about college football 25. Like, dude is like, and it's crazy. And I actually feel bad because I mocked him over the summertime when, with the comments that he said about, Bama's not the same without Nick Saban and him pretty much, guaranteeing a victory. And he went and backed up and did it. So I'm not going to mock him again this time. But and being around him, you kind of see that aura that's around him, like, and it's crazy, and it's gonna sound real crazy when I say this, Dante, but I think he really believes that. You know what I'm saying? And he should know better because this is what his like 4th or 5th year in college, so he should absolutely know better. But we know the margin of error in college football is so small. That's why we obsess over the regular season. Like, the 12-team playoff give you an opportunity to say, hey, maybe if you were a 3-loss team, you have an opportunity, but you increase your chances, in the ACC by just going and go win the whole daggone thing. That way you don't got to sit and worry, if you're going to be what SMU did a season ago. So I don't buy what he's saying, but I think I've been around him enough to know that he means what he say. But I'm not going to mock him for it just because I mocked him. You know what I'm saying? Last time I mocked him, I was incorrect. So I ain't going to mock him again. We'll see what they look like this week in Miami. And I do believe that Miami is on upset alert. I'm sure you're not going in that direction, but I believe Miami is on upset alert this week.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I mean, if this is anything, Quasi say, to get you going, to get that turnkey turning, and to get you moving forward, then it's definitely this loss to humble you, especially going to Charlottesville and losing the way that you did. Man, that might have been the best storm the field moment of all time.
It'll never be better. And did they get fined for it? If so, it was well worth the fine. I've never seen one better than that. Did you see all the tweets the next day on Squirrel, R.I.P. Squirrel White?
Yeah. My wife was like, I hope he's good. I was like, yeah, if he is, might as well just stay on the ground. The best thing for him is that he was actually wearing pads during that whole thing, because somebody that wasn't wearing football pads might not have been so lucky. But, man. Yeah, it's this could be Miami being on upset alert, especially if they play like they've played, in some of the games this season where, in the first half they just look very lowly, right? And then the second half they start turning up the juice. Either way it goes, I don't like the comments because he should be more of a veteran presence than he actually is. And then you remember that video that came out with Matt Rule a couple weeks ago where he's like, I don't care. The fact that you even allowed these dudes to score, that they even scored on us is insulting.
Yes.
That's the type of energy I want from Thomas to be in the huddle every single time. These dudes ain't even ranked. We are ranked top 10 right now. The fact that they're even scoring on us is crazy work, right? We're getting torn up by a dude that played in North Texas last year. I mean, we already said how we feel about Chandler Morris, but like really and truly, if I was that quarterback, I'd be that petty. How y'all letting this? I'd be going to my defense. This dude played in North Texas last year. Y'all act like y'all can't defend this. Yeah.
Do you think he's a vocal leader? I don't think that's his wheelhouse. I really don't, and it should be because he's a quarterback. He's been there, done that. This is his third team in 4 years. I don't think it's him. I
don't
really
think
don't.
so either. But the thing is that's conflicting too because you want to talk about it to the media, but you don't want to talk and get your team motivated.
Right. Get your team ready.
You can rah rah all you want. I can make a headline, but I can't get my team motivated. That just don't. It's kind of weird. You know what I'm saying?
It is weird, and you'll see people like Aiden Childs. You talked about him earlier, dude. When I was at the Michigan State Maryland game last year, it was a few passes that were not his fault. He took responsibility for him on the sideline. Hey, I missed you on this. I will get you next time. We're good. We're gonna be all right. And you remember they were down in that game. They came back and won that game. He connected with Nick Marsh on the bomb, but like some people just got it. And Aiden Childs is one of those guys who just has it. So his success this year isn't surprising because you saw him as a true freshman. He was a vocal leader. Like you heard him talking the entire time. And that's what I love about, being at CQ Stadium is that the visitor sideline, there's not much security. Like I literally do pans with my camera when I'm there on a visitor sideline because they're not gonna bother me at all. And so it's dope.
Yeah, Thomas is He's such a special player, man. And that's one thing that I said even in my criticisms at the beginning. What people don't understand is like, oh, you just hate Thomas Castellanos, blah, 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 and all this other stuff. And it's like, I would never hate on a dude with as much talent. And if you go back years ago, we were talking about how good Tommy was.
Yeah. Yep.
Defending Tommy. But I can't defend that you quit on your team. I can't defend the loss to Virginia. It just is what it is. And I can't defend these comments for you being the leader of this team. But last question before we move on is, how does Gus Malzahn feel about these comments, let alone Mike Norvell, who is on a warm seat right now still? You can win against Alabama, but you take a loss to this. I'm not going to say it negates that win at the beginning of the season, but the way that Alabama's look motivated versus the way that we look motivated against Virginia, we're taking two different trajectories that we shouldn't take. I mean, how do you think they feel about this?
So I'm sure Mike Norvell probably feels differently than Gus Malzahn does because Gus Malzahn has dealt with Thomas Castellanos before. So I think he has a better trajectory of what to expect from him, with wins and losses. I mean, we'll talk about it a little bit more later, but, Florida State is first in the country in points per game, at the moment. So they do have the ability to score. So I think Gus Malzahn is like, whatever, like, let's get ready to play Miami versus Mike Norvell. Like, dude, like, our fan base don't want to hear this. Like, you're supposed to be the leader of this team, and plus, with his seat being warm, like you said it is, I'm sure it probably matters more to him. Gus Malzahn probably expect 3 or 4 stupid comments, you know what I'm saying, a year from Thomas Castellanos just because he's dealt with him before.
Yeah. So hopefully he can lock in. Me, like you said, you met him. I haven't met Tommy before, so if you think he means what he says, then I'm there for it. I just wish them nothing but success. But you got to lock in, man. You got to lock in because
you're the quarterback. You got to have better media presence. Like all quarterbacks, anybody dealing in that profession should take media training courses. I thought that was something that was universal to get them prepared to how to answer questions, but that was just a poor media answer. It really was.
Yeah, it was, and I'm surprised it hasn't blown up more than this, but I guess, since we deal with deal with them as players and everything.
But we're one percenters, bro. Everybody not gonna catch that.
I feel you on that one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, everybody not gonna catch that.
I was ready to bring out this. We used to do this on the show when we had multiple people, but I feel like this is a good time to bring out red shirt and transfer. If you guys never played this game before, feel free to play along in the comments section. If you agree with the statement, you're gonna red shirt. You're gonna stay where you. I'm gonna stick on top. If you disagree, enter the transfer portal as you go.
Okay, I like it. I love it.
All right. So the first question up is: will Arch Manning look like a Heisman quarterback versus Florida? He's had 1 week to sit on it, you know.
Transfer portal, bro. and it's sad that Florida's 1-3 right now. They're 1-3 not because of their defense. They're 1-3 because Lagway continues to throw the ball to the wrong team. That's 100% why they're 1-3. Like even in the USF game, I look back and there was a pivotal interception that Lagway threw. He threw 5 of them versus LSU, and it was a 90-yard bomb from Ball, the running back on the swing pass that was called back as well. They still only lost 20-10. So Arch Manning, he did look extremely good versus Sam Houston. I think he'll have moments, but Florida's defense is really good. That's their wheelhouse. GJ Lagway, how many yards did he throw for in their last game? Was it like 60, 70? It was something atrocious.
Yeah.
To be 100% transparent with you. And that, Miami did have a little bit of success against them. So no, I'm gonna hit the portal on this one, brother.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I honestly think he might not look like a Heisman quarterback, but I think he's going to look pretty good. And he needs to, right? I think not only, like you had said, a team like Florida that's been very good defensively, and that's the only reason why I think Mike Norvell has got his job right now. The Todd Grantham days are over, right? We've seen our homie get fired at Oklahoma State.
Right.
But I think this is the reason why he's kept his job so long is because their defense has looked good, and he's putting defensive players in the NFL, right? And so but having a Trey Wilson and, when is Dallas Wilson? When are we going to see him show up? He's a fantastic wide receiver.
Killed in the spring season, bro.
Absolutely. But the thing is you gave Arch a week to get healthier because I literally think he's hurt. And I said this before, if Sark is covering up an injury, this is going to look very, very bad for him.
It is. Because
the player is never going to fight with himself on if he can play or not, unless he really can't go. Have we ever seen Boobie Miles? Did y'all ever watch Friday Night Lights?
Right, they never seen Friday Night Lights.
Every player's like that. The coach has got to save the player from himself and understand that this is bigger than football. Arch can play another year. He's got, 3 more years of eligibility if really wanted to.
He does. Yeah.
So I honestly think Lagway looks better in this game.
Oh, wow.
And I think Arch Manning looks good in this game too. So I'm going to say transfer slightly. But I don't think he looks Heisman caliber. I think this is a tough game for Arch, but he ultimately gets them a win. And people start feeling a little bit differently about Arch. So
yeah, he should be able to perform, like you said, the week, because as bad as Arch has looked some games, Steve Sarkisian hasn't quite looked like himself either as a play caller. He was seeing ghosts versus Ohio State. Matt Patricia was disguising everything. You know how he normally look comfortable on the sideline, like you see the light bulb, like, you know what I'm saying, over top of his head. You trying to figure out how to turn it on. So they look good versus Sam Houston. I know a lot of people say, man, it's versus Sam Houston, but a week to prepare. I do expect Arch Manning to look better than he has versus these top tier teams, and they're probably ready for an SEC run. But this game, I think anybody can win this game.
C.J. Baxter, Quintravion Wisner is supposed to be the 1-2. But we have Jarrett Gibson and James Simon that are leading and rushing for the running backs.
I'm telling you, some of these things fight.
Some's not adding up this year, man.
Make it make sense.
Yeah. Next question up. Now, I know this was near and dear to your heart because you love the running back tandem out there. But can Miller Moss bring Louisville an ACC championship. The boys are 4-0 right now, just flying under the radar.
They're so disrespected, bro. And I've been saying it all year. I've been saying it all off season. You watch enough of my shows and let me know how I feel about this team. I already know what the answer is. We go redshirt. We cool. Yeah, we go redshirt. We cool. Yes, Miller Moss can absolutely lead them in the ACC championship. And I know people. I don't know how people view Pitt. They definitely lost a game in the backyard brawl, even though it was in Morgantown. But that's just one of those type of games where you play each other every year type of game. I think
that's the only stadium that has been in my vicinity that I haven't been to, but a lot of my friends went to West Virginia too.
It is. So I wonder if I passed you. So I went to a Pitt game last year. I went to the Pitt-Syracuse game with Pitt, put hands and feet on Syracuse. And I live in Fredericksburg, Virginia. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I moved from the area just like you did. I don't blame you. You know what I'm saying? So, but to drive up there.
I have nothing positive to say.
You go through like Winchester's and you go through like West Virginia, then you go through Maryland, and then you get through Pitt. Like, are you close to Pitt or are you close to Pennsylvania? Not Pennsylvania. Are you close to like what's some other city? Like Philly? Like where are you close to out there?
I'm closer to Philly than I am Pittsburgh. So I'm right there in the middle. So
okay. Got you. So yeah, no, I'm big on Louisville. I'm big on Jeff Brown. His no nonsense type personality. He's the most no nonsense coach that I've ever been around.
Him and his brother Brian.
Yeah, and Brian. I remember Brian when he was in college playing quarterback for Louisville. So they just got something brewing there. 8 home games this year, which is spectacular. You know what I'm saying? They only go on the road 4 times, and that's the 4 times the ACC make them go on the road. And they just played one of those games. Only 3 more games down the stretch on the road for Louisville. They can certainly win the ACC.
Yeah, I'm going to transfer.
You gonna transfer? Okay.
Not the fact that I don't believe in Louisville as a whole and what Brian and Jeff Brown can do with a quarterback, but to me, Miller is just high risk, high reward right now.
He is 100%.
I really think there's
the same thing, by the way.
Yeah, and if the college football landscape is as mixed up as it is right now, where we can see an upset loss or a couple losses for a team that we're like, damn, then that really shouldn't have happened. That means that they aren't immune to that happening to them either. And
it's happened every year since Jeff Brown has been there. There's been a team, and I mean, I don't know. I just think the competitive balance
won against Miami.
Yeah. There's always one, but the competitive balance, like Georgia Tech, Wake Forest was robbed this weekend. I'm not sure if you watched any of that game. Yep. There was an offsides that was not called, and Robbie Ashford did what he's supposed to do, try to get a free play out of it, even though he didn't need it, and that costed them the game. But anybody can get got any given day in the ACC. I truly believe that.
Yeah, so I'm gonna disagree slightly.
Okay.
Another one that I feel conflicted on because I think Louisville has the team. Like I agree with you. The running back core is just the coaching staff is amazing, man. If it was any other school named Louisville, let's say if this coaching staff went to Virginia Tech.
Yeah, I would love it. Shout out to Philip Montgomery though. I think he's gonna go the Brent Key route. Remember when Brent Key had the interim tag? They went 500 down the stretch. I believe that was his first year there, the year that he did get the interim tag. So they gave him the head coaching job. Philip Montgomery 2-0. Got to win versus NC State. Got to win versus Wofford. If they can find a way to go 500, I think they'll keep him there. They do need a GM though, and they got to find a way to get people to donate money. And you got to pay to play. It's no other way to win in college football. You got to pay to play, and I'm not sure if they're willing to do that right now.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Again, I'll always say this about Blacksburg. If you've never been to Virginia Tech at a night game, it's better than the whiteout. And I've never been to a
100%. 100%. 100%.
I've been to Penn State game, but I've never been to a whiteout. But I can tell you it's probably not that much different. But Blacksburg is just the first 30 minutes before they even play the game was better atmosphere than Penn State.
You know what stadium disappointed me while we were on the subject? I was at the Big House. Mind you, it was a non-con game. This was the year that they won the national championship. We was there versus ECU. That was like the biggest credential we had gotten to the point. Probably, I don't know. The flat kickoff challenge was pretty big too. But it was like, it amazed me like how it looked like that, But the loudness of it, Blacksburg is louder, bro.
Yeah, it's crazy. I'll tell you an underrated stadium if you've never got to go there, and it's still Probably in my top 3 until proven otherwise.
Oh,
It has a special place there at number 3. And people are going to be like, what? Carter Finley Stadium. NC
Really?
State.
Really? So I've been there during the spring. I haven't been there during a real game. So
It's not like it's the rowdiest crowd.
Mhm.
It's just the way everything is set up. Their stadium is beautiful. The field is
Oh
beautiful.
yeah, absolutely.
Their fans are super respectful.
The
I think
parking
the
lot
best
is nice.
fans are the ones that know, like, we could be really good, but we ain't going to get too hype about it. It's going to ACC championship, so we just chilling.
Yo, everybody I think that I talk college football with is the same way. Like Moon is super critical of all of the, Atlanta-based teams. Jalen is like that with Illinois. You're like that with Florida State. Don't get Nino started on BC. He is not rocking with BC right now. The same thing with D now in Iowa, and my dog Jared Gray with Oklahoma. But yeah, you guys are really critical of your teams, and it's hilarious. You know what I'm saying? Because I appreciate the transparency. You guys are more transparent about your teams than I'm willing to be.
Well, at the end of the day, if I'm going to give criticism to somebody else's team, I better have criticized.
Better be ready
right?
to. Yeah, I like that.
I feel like there shouldn't be a gray line on how I feel about my team either. I should feel like if I was you in my shoes, if I was in your shoes criticizing Florida State, that's how transparent I should be about my team. So
yeah, I feel that. That's respect right there.
Question 3: Arkansas firing Sam Pittman was the right decision?
No. So I'm going to. Was the right decision? I'm gonna hit the transfer portal on this one. And I say this, their AD, I forgot how to pronounce his last name, admitted that Sam Pittman wasn't given the right resources. Well, you should have fired yourself and then fired Sam Pittman if you're going to admit that he didn't have enough resources to win here. What was it, 2021? They won 9 games with KJ Jefferson at quarterback. That game versus Notre Dame, and this is the caveat to it, and this is why I can see somebody going with the other side. 56 points in your home stadium. You guys had CJ Carr looking like Joe Montana. Jalen, that's like the 4th time I mentioned CJ Carr this week. He said I'm a CJ Carr hater. That's the 4th time that I mentioned him. I'm sure he's watching the show somewhere. But if you guys admitted that you didn't give him the proper resources to win, and it's already hard to compete in the SEC, but it shouldn't be hard to compete against these other schools across the country. If you wanted to pay to play like Joey McGuire and Texas Tech did in Lubbock this past year, they would have had the proper resources. But an AD admitting not having the right resources, you should be fired as well.
A fireable offense is firing Sam Pittman and then promoting Bobby Petrino yet again.
Dude. And I heard he backdoored Sam Pittman too.
I bet you he did. Yeah,
that was a rumor swirling. Like, yeah, if you guys fire him, I'll get rid of this defensive coordinator. I get rid of this person, that person, and if that has any truth to it, that's dirty. That's dirty.
I'm gonna just put it like this: I'm transferring as well. I think this was the wrong decision right now. Now, because now you're starting to get into your conference schedule, and you're telling me that Taylor Green was one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the country, and you let his head coach go, man, and go to Bobby Petrino, who's known to ruin quarterbacks. Stop, bro. If I was Taylor, I would be like,
does he have any years of eligibility left? Because he can't technically enter the portal.
Let's see, Taylor Green.
Yeah, would he be granted a red shirt year? I don't believe he has any eligibility left, but I wonder would they make an exception if he decided to transfer, because he would definitely have plenty of teams interested in him.
Yep, this is his last season.
This is last year. Okay.
Yeah, he thought about going to the NFL draft. Well, that's interesting. I didn't know that. He was eligible for an NFL draft and thought about it, but wanted to return for his final season. Well, this is a way to slam the door in his face.
Yeah, that's messed up.
I feel bad for Taylor now.
Yeah, I hope he continues to be successful. Maybe he can get a Senior Bowl invite, and he'll ball out if he gets an opportunity to go there.
This is how crazy this, like, when we say we're 1%er, this is how crazy some of this goes. So, there's some content creators out there that are just strictly like SEC or like they just deal with one team. There was this one guy that I know personally, and
that's a thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can never restrict myself to just one.
Yeah,
team
me
one
either.
conference.
Me either. I love college football.
It's too much to talk about.
Yeah.
But he was so as an SEC guy. Shout out to my guy Mayhem Matthew though, because he knows I pick on him about this all the time. But he really said a couple of years ago when Taylor Green transferred from Boise State to Arkansas, he was like, nobody even knows who that is. I'll say, you don't know who that is.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's like saying I don't know who Malachi Nelson is. I know he's at UTEP right now, but y'all remember he was a 5-star that went to USC. Like, what are we doing here?
That's dangerous. And I think that's why it's important to kind of pay attention to everywhere, because you can there's studs everywhere. There's a kid at Marshall right now who backup quarterback started playing. Is it Del Rio or Dale Wilson, Dale Wilson or something like that? He's been balling out, and if you don't pay attention to a little bit of everybody, Marshall had a mass exodus last year. So I don't know. Like I said, that shout out to them. I think that's the easier route. No disrespect to your brother there, but I just think that's.
Oh no, he knows he's an idiot sometimes. I can tell. Like, that was just an idiotic comment. I was like, bro, you should take a. I'm gonna suspend you for 2 weeks from content creation.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so
that's crazy.
I don't know. You gotta pay attention, man. you
can't just say Taylor Green is a nobody. He just made a progressive move, and you're gonna say I don't even know. Nobody knows who that guy is.
Wow, I mean, it wasn't like he was at like a smaller FCS school, like you said, Boise State, bro.
Yeah, exactly. One of the most winningest programs over the last 20 years, and we're talking about nobody knows who that guy is. I guess nobody knows who Ashton Genty is either. So we'll just put it as that.
Right. Shout out to him too. He had a great weekend this weekend. Sad that they lost though.
Yeah. Two more questions from the Ration.
I like this game, man.
Yeah, Texas A&M could win the SEC. Red shirt or transfer?
So I know the Auburn game. People are probably going to be like, "Hey, dude, I'm transferred." I'm not sure. I think the Auburn game just showed me that they had more than one way to win. They can win it. They can win an ugly game. I'm definitely red shirt here. They can win an ugly game. They can go and win a shootout in the South Bend like they did, versus Notre Dame. Colin Klein is one of the up-and-coming guys as offense coordinator. We already respect what Mike Elko can do on the defensive side of the ball. And that wide receiver combo that they got with Concepcion and Mario Craver, dude, this team,
and even Le'Veon Moss and Ruben Owens.
And Ruben Owens. So yeah, this team is well balanced right now. If I had, thank God I don't gun to my head right now and I had to pick who would win the SEC, my pick would probably be Texas A&M or Ole Miss at the moment.
Factory outlet, like I'm absolutely red shirt in here. Marcel Reed. We talk about quarterbacks that don't get talked about a lot.
Facts.
Marcel Reed. Shout out to my boy Khalid, man. He goes to Texas A&M.
Yeah, he hit me up. He's like, bro, you guys got to come to Kyle Field. Even if you're not credentialed, you guys got to come. I'm gonna try to make it happen this year as a fan. Just sit and just enjoy the ambiance, man. I'm gonna try my best to make it happen.
Yeah, but Casey Concepcion has been like Torrey Horton at the Seahawks. Just do it all. Returning kicks, catching touchdown passes, making big plays. Mario Craver has just been a absolute treat at wide receiver. Playing at Mississippi State. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And coming over doing what he's doing. Hey, I love it.
Incredible. Right.
Hey, man, shout out to my guy, man. Coming in here, dropping the $4.99. Lord Bakington. I ain't never seen this dude in the chat before. Unless you're under a different name. Shout out to you, brother. He said Miami can win the ACC and go to the college football playoff. I absolutely agree with that.
That's 100%. 100%.
That's a pretty cold take that I agree with. Question 5. All right, so this one's going to throw you for a doozy right here because this is a 1%er question.
Okay.
Memphis is closer to UFC and college football playoff contention than people think.
Abso-freaking-lutely. And the number one reason why. If you look, and I'm registering here, if you look over the last decade, the teams who have the most wins at home, it's Ohio State, Memphis, and there's one other team, maybe the team in Athens.
I think it's Boise State.
Is it Boise State? Teams with most wins at home. Ask Arkansas how difficult it is to go down into that environment. It's gangster down here. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And to come out of that stadium with a win. I'm sad to report something. This is probably the most casual thing I've ever done. So I had the opportunity to go to Memphis and Arkansas game. I was credentialed for it, even though flying down there would have been annoying. I was credentialed for it. I decided to do the 3 games in one day. That's when I went to Clemson and Syracuse game. Then we went to Georgia Tech and Temple game. Then we went to Kennesaw State game, which I thoroughly enjoyed. By the way, they played Arkansas State, but I had an opportunity to go to that game and I didn't go, bro. But yes, I'm high on Memphis, and the respect that I have for Ryan Silverfield as a head coach. Arguably,
it's almost like Spencer Danielson, man. I got a ton of respect for him too.
Yeah, same. And then the guy John Summerall, at Tulane, I have a great respect for him as well. But Ryan Silverfield talked with Moon. Out of everybody we talked to at all of the media days, the coach that spent the most time with us was Ryan Silverfield. Him and Moon had an outstanding conversation. They were talking about music. He was just talking about like the diverse in his music. Like he'll be going to a rock concert. Then he said he'd been to a Biggie concert before. Like Ryan Silverfield is just like, a melting pot. So yes, I'm high on Memphis. If I had to choose a team that's going to win an AAC right now, I'm going with Memphis just because it's so difficult to go there and get a win.
See, this is how 1%ers talk, right? And I'm gonna get into something for you guys because when nobody's up watching these West Coast games, guess who's up watching them or DVRing them joints and watching them the next day? If you didn't watch Brendan Lewis at Nevada, I'm sorry. If you didn't watch. The only reason we know about guys like Devin Dampier at Utah is because he was playing in New Mexico. The only reason we know about guys like what's his name?
Diego Pavia is another one. I seen him live in person. He played at New Mexico State. Yep. It's incredible. You're right. You just got to stay up and watch the games.
Yeah, man. These are the guys that have shaped college football, and they're making progressive moves, as we talk about a lot here. And even previous to that, before Colorado was Colorado, he was there doing that 1-11 team as a quarterback.
Wow, that's something I didn't even know. That's a great pull right there.
Yeah, so he's been in college football for 6 years. This is his 6th year of eligibility, and he's making it count.
We got to interview him at the American Media Days as well. He popped off that was it SMU in Nevada game a year ago, week 0. They just kept running them. It was crazy. It'd be like 30-17. They'll run him and he'll pick up the first down. Like, who's this kid?
Yeah, I'm a red shirt with you here though. But with all that being said, if you said USF and you said that they're the only ones that are going to make it out of the group of 5, I wouldn't disagree with you. Because they've looked so good. But I think I think in the reality of the question, is Memphis closer to SFU or USF? Yes, they are. Memphis is right there. And I think if Memphis continues to play that the way that they have been, and when it comes to that points for and points against conversation at the end of the year, or some tiebreakers on who had the most important win, you're going to have to put Memphis in the conversation. And I think these are the 2 best teams. I think a lot of people are looking at UNLV to kind of be there. And I mean, obviously Boise State again, right? I mean, those are the other 2 teams. I mean, who else could we, Miami of Ohio they're sneaky. They're sneaky.
I think Navy can be in the discussion. Yeah, the Quan Finn is at Miami of Ohio. They played a really tough non-con schedule, but they've been competitive. Red shirt definitely for sure. So yeah, I'm trying to think of some other teams that could be there. I think this gauntlet that we're about to see in I gotta stop calling it the AAC. They moved to the American Conference. This gauntlet's about to be rough because some of these teams are going to have losses. USF is going to have an in-conference loss. Memphis will probably have an in-conference loss. It's I don't know. Some of the best football we're going to see down this stretch is going to be in the American Conference.
Getting blown out definitely can't be a part of your resume, man.
100%
right there.
100%.
All right, now that we're done with the redshirt and transfer, man, I have to bring that game back.
Love that game. That game is phenomenal, bro.
Let's get into the conversation of who are the best teams in college football, or the teams that we should worry about, at this point in time. And I got a very interesting one for you, and they play a very important game this weekend. Vanderbilt.
Vandy, yes.
Big challenge against Alabama yet again. If y'all remember, they won some big games last year, including Kellen DeBoer's first year being upsetted by our boys down there at Vanderbilt, where they damn took the goalpost all the way to the river out there in Nashville.
They did. It was week 6 last year. It's week 6 this year.
Yeah, it was complete chaos. They've been beating opponents by 20-plus points. 20-plus. That's insane. They beat number 11 South Carolina. Of course, we know what happened in that game with Lenore Sellers, man. But you win how you need to win. It don't matter.
Yeah, I think even though he's been putting his, Superman on, his best Mariah Carey, impression when a hero comes along. But I think even if he plays that game, in full extent, it might not be 31-7. It could have been 31-14. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I saw South Carolina versus Virginia Tech, and I wasn't impressed. I was impressed at their size, but they let Virginia Tech defensive line beat them up, bro.
Yeah. The thing about Vanderbilt is they probably could do one of the things in the SEC to catapult them into the SEC championship on the resume of a lot of these teams. If they beat Alabama, I would be hard pressed to say they couldn't win these next couple of games.
Absolutely.
They play 4 ranked opponents in a row. As long as the rankings stay how they are or improve or shift around, however, they play Alabama. Then they have LSU coming to them. Then they have Missouri coming to them. Then they go to Texas. And then the last game of the season, they play Tennessee at Neyland. You're telling me that if they don't make it past these four teams, that they won't be not only one of the best teams in college football, I think you'd have to say Vanderbilt is top 5 if they go through that gauntlet and win. Because Missouri's no joke. LSU's defense is incredible. Alabama looks like the best team in the country. And Tennessee has got an offense for your ass. If you
they really do.
You can't slip against them for sure. The points per game, 47.5. They're 8th. Opponent points per game, 20.8 or 12.8, which is 19th. Red zone success, 95%. Opponent third down conversion percentage, 34%. We talked about 𝗕𝘂𝘂𝗀𝗶𝗲. Leads the team, 1,200 yards, 294 yards rushing.
I about to say leads him in rushing as well. Yeah.
His passing efficiency is 174. And then we can't talk about this offense without talking about the guy that he came over in the transfer portal with, and Eli Stowers.
Yeah.
Leads the team in receiving with 301 yards, and he's going to be this year's Harold Fannin Jr.
I love that.
Yeah, I think Vanderbilt is a team that we should worry about, man, for sure.
I like that. We talked about Texas A&M a little bit earlier. How about Ole Miss? You had an outstanding take. I seen it in a short a couple weeks ago. You said were we a year early on Ole Miss? And that one hit home because I was all in on Ole Miss a season ago.
A lot of people were.
To see where they're at now, and it's surprising that their defense is still holding with Pete Golden. I know a lot of people aren't huge Pete Golden fans, but this kid Trinidad Shambliss gives them a chance. He gives them a chance. I know that Lane Kiffin has a decision to make. They are idle this upcoming week, so it'll be interesting to see which way he goes because it's risky either way. This is Trinidad Shambliss last year college football, no matter how you slice it. Austin Simmons still has years of eligibility left. Will he feel betrayed because of the unwritten rule? You don't lose your job due to injury, but you have to go with Trinidad Shambliss.
And to back your statement up there was no more of an important picture that came out this weekend than Trinidad Shambliss running up against the sideline, high-fiving people in the crowd. And Austin Simmons behind him with the biggest smile on his face.
Right. That was
said, this quarterback competition is over because that smile said everything about I'm here to win. And if he's got to be the quarterback for this year, I'm just going to sit back and soak in and lock in so I'm ready for next year. It's not like he didn't do it with Jackson Dart. The only difference is, and I think I made this point in the tweet too, is he had to wait his chance with Jackson Dart. He had to earn his chance against Trinidad Shambliss. And so there's the difference there. Like we automatically thought that, and I made a video on Austin Simmons. I thought he was going to be a demon. Look, graduated
same.
at the age of 19, quit the baseball team, focusing all on football. I was like, there's no better way for this guy to lock in. But now you give him an extra, and I love competitive positional rooms make teams better.
100%. Because you never know when you'll be called upon.
Yeah, and if he makes it through this gauntlet, I'm all on the Austin Simmons Heisman train next year. I really am. It's gonna be hard for you to pull me off for sure.
Especially the way that Lane Kiffin develops quarterbacks. Like, we see Jackson Dart get his first start this past weekend. It'll be interesting to see how well Ole Miss plays down the stretch, because they always seems to shoot themselves in the foot. And I'm not just talking about last year with the Florida and Kentucky loss, when they should have handled business and they'll be in a college football playoff. But Ole Miss, I like them a lot, and I think one of the unsung heroes of that team. I like that wide receiver core a lot, but Keywan Lacey is playing outstanding right now, and he's just doing all of the glue guy. You remember how back in the day, coaches always had a glue guy on the team. Keywan Lacey, even though he's a stud, he's one of those glue guys because he does so much for that program. I like them a lot. We're witnessing, I think, the Big 12 renaissance right now. Like, I think if you ask 5 or 6 people who's the best team in the Big 12, you may get a TCU answer. Some people may still feel like it's Arizona State. Texas Tech has looked like the big bad, dudes in that conference. Something special is going on in Cincinnati, Ohio. And I am not a Scott Satterfield fan. I have been on record for years saying that I'm not a Scott Satterfield fan. And I've always used Louisville as the example. But something weird is going on in Cincinnati, and we felt it at Big 12 Media Days. Me, Moon, and Mike, we was around Cincinnati. I got an opportunity to interview Brendan Sorsby. He's playing lights out right now.
Did you see the tweet I put out about him looking like Spider-Man and now he looks like Wolverine?
Yes, I did. I did see that tweet, bro. And it's incredible, how well that they're playing right now. But you seen them gelling. I know we're gonna talk about them a little bit later when we get in some of these game previews. And we kept looking for, a lot of us was looking for who was going to be Arizona State this upcoming year. We knew that Texas Tech was going to be right there in the thick of things because they paid money. I was all in on Baylor. I'm still in on Baylor, by the way. I haven't gone anywhere. Those 2 losses really pissed me off, but I believe the cannibalization that we're about to see in this conference is going to be interesting. So Cincinnati is a really interesting story. And I know they're playing Big Bad Iowa State.
Yeah.
This
that's our game of the week, guys. Like,
yeah.
Y'all need to pay attention to that game this week.
100%. So, I think there's a few teams that we should be looking at. Oregon, of course, should be up there in the who's who. Ohio State is just playing outstanding right now from a defensive perspective. How they were able to neutralize Washington this weekend, who I believe was number 1 and number 2 in scoring. I think they were probably number 2 behind you guys a week ago.
Yeah.
And they were able to neutralize them defensively. I don't know. This year, so much parity, I genuinely do not know.
I'm going to put it like this. I think Utah's the scariest team in the Big 12.
I
think, the comments that we were talking about with Thomas Castellanos that said they needed this?
Mm-hmm.
There was nobody that needed that more than the defensive unit of Utah. Because they came out last week against West Virginia, and they laid the smack deezy on them. Rich Rodriguez was over there crying. He was crying. 48-14, David Dampier looked like himself. I don't know what happened. Man, Arizona State might lose this game, and they might lose it bad.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you.
Because I don't
think they've looked that great this year.
I don't think Jordan Tyson and Sam Levitt are going to get the opportunities that they got last week. That was the best defensive game last week from any team in college football Utah played after coming off that loss to Texas Tech. I do agree with you. The Big 12 has given us the treat that we saw with the Pac-12 there last year.
Yeah, they certainly are. Like, even though Arizona got beat badly this past weekend, like they were even 3-0 heading into that game. So we got a lot of good ball there. It's sad that Oklahoma State is a part of a part of the madness. But that I'm so excited for Big 12 football this season. I was in the offseason. I'm even more excited now.
Yeah, real quick, just going through the Big 12. Let me pull up the standings here. So number 1 overall is Iowa State, which we're going to get to them. Number 2, Arizona State, BYU. That rounds out your top 3. But just going through top to bottom, West Virginia, if Rich Rod can get those guys together, they've won some games that they probably shouldn't have won this year already.
Right. They beat Pitt, and they don't even that's not even his guys yet. You know what the first year is like.
Exactly.
Everything you can get from the portal. Other than that, he'll start bringing his guys in next year that really fits his game.
Colorado, I feel like benching Kaden Salter was probably better for them than what they thought.
Think so? Mm-hmm.
But they really just don't have good receivers on that team like they did in the past. It just, Amarion
and they
Miller
had chances
is great.
to beat BYU. They really did have chances to beat BYU.
Yeah, they should have beat them. And I hate that all this is falling on Kaden Salter's shoulders, because if he was on any other team, let's say if he was on Kansas State right now,
right, he'd be lighting it up.
They'd be undefeated, in my opinion.
He had his family at Big 12 Media Days. He actually asked me to take a picture for him, because I was talking to him earlier. I was like, yo, I was at so many of your games at Liberty. And so he had needed somebody to take a picture of his family. So he came and found me and got me to take it. Man, he's a good kid, man.
I love Kaden, man. I love everything that he's about. Oklahoma State looks like they're starting to play better football now that Mike Gundy and Todd Grantham aren't there. It's crazy. So, and then UCF, Scott Frost and those guys, they're 3-1 right now.
They started the season hot. They beat the brakes off of North Carolina a week ago.
I'm a Taven Jackson guy.
Yeah, for sure. And it's crazy because we the biggest question mark for them was that position, heading into the season. So I'm glad that they found that guy.
I told everybody last year when
KJ Jefferson,
what's his name, Curtis Rourke went out and Taven Jackson came in. I didn't even know that Curtis Rourke got hurt. Because I wasn't checking the number on the back. I was just like, oh damn, Curtis Rourke out here just turning them up still. And it was like, no, Taven Jackson in for the touchdown. I'm like, wait, what? I didn't even know they switched quarterbacks. He's a good quarterback.
Yeah,
TCU,
really
Josh Hoover. He
didn't have his dog this past game. They really needed Eric McAllister versus Arizona State this past week.
But Joseph Manjack is a demon. Coming off from Houston, you remember Joseph Manjack used to get in fight with his teammates on the sidelines.
He got one of those great college football names, man.
Oh, for sure. What about my boy Mobility though?
There's a lot of names on there. I remember when college football
Rocky Beers. There's so many different ones, man.
There is, man.
The Coldest Crawford.
Yeah, the Coldest Crawford. I remember that one. Is he still playing college football?
The Coldest Crawford is down at Louisiana Tech.
Is he? Because he started in Nebraska, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You can't be the coldest and making a linear move like that, man.
Not at all.
Arizona playing. They've looked really good, like an improvement on where they were last year. It almost makes me feel bad that like guys like Justin Flo and Tedero McMillan just couldn't. Well, Ted grew on his own, but Justin Flo just never could like. I don't know what it was, man.
That was that Dino Babers system, bro. And I hate to take a dig at somebody I respect. Another person I had the opportunity to talk to at ACC Media Days before, but yeah, it was that Dino Babers system, man.
Yeah,
it just didn't work.
Kansas State, they're trying to get themselves back going.
Yeah, they're fighting. They got was it them that beat UCF this past week? Yeah. So
what's his name had a pretty big day. Dylan Edwards had a pretty big day in that game.
Well, welcome back, Carter. He's back. They play Baylor this upcoming weekend. I'm kind of interested to see how both of those teams play in that game.
Yeah, that should be a good measuring stick, like a gatekeeper game. Who's going to be the gatekeeper of the Big 12?
Right.
Kansas, man, Jalen Daniels has been playing so good, and the rest of that team has been so ass.
Yeah,
it's sad. What's going on.
That border war game was one of the best games I've seen this year, and him and Bo Perillo was just they were just going back and forth. Like neither one of them was going to allow their team to lose, and unfortunately, like you said, Bo Perillo had more help, and that kid he's impressive. Missouri is very impressive. Overall, it'd be interesting to see like once they're in the quarter of SEC schedule how well they play, but they got a lot of momentum, and if you can run the ball in the SEC. You got a kid that can, make plays with his legs and throw the ball down the field like they do in Bo Perillo. They can be dangerous, man. They can be really dangerous.
Sawyer Robertson, we're high on him. 17 touchdowns, 3 interceptions with Baylor. Bryson Washington, who I highlighted before the season. These two guys are absolute demons.
Yeah, they're missing Pendergrass. And then Kobe Prentice, what a portal get. Kobe Prentice.
I highlighted that too. I was like, maybe this is where Kobe Prentice starts to break out a little bit, not having that, that pressure of Alabama lingering over him. So
100%.
We talked about Utah. We talked about Cincy, or we're going to talk about it here in a second. Texas Tech, you know, one of those teams, portal champions, I guess you could say.
Yes, they are the portal champions. But, you know, Ohio State was the portal champions, you know, and then they ended up winning the, you know, national championship. See if Texas Tech can do the same thing.
Will Hammonds look really good. And,
He did.
filling in.
He looked phenomenal, man.
So if anything happens, they know they got an ultimate backup that could come in and win them some games. Houston is probably, you know, man, I don't really even know how to feel about them. Connor Wegmans look good. Dean Connors look okay for them at running back.
They started out so poorly though against Oklahoma, you know, Oregon State. And I know it's tough to play teams when they're trying to find a win, because I think Oregon State is 0-5 now. So they started rough in that game, but you know, you got two guys with extremely huge chips. You know, one being their head coach and Willie Fritz, and the other one being Connor Wegman. And I'm probably happy it's for him this season, and probably than anybody. I'm happy for Connor Wegman.
Yep. LJ Martin and the BYU Cougars, the best running back that you haven't heard of yet. We talked about last year a lot.
Right. We had the opportunity to interview him at Big 12 Media Days, man. He's one of those people. Evan Hall was the other person. I think this is Senior Bowl 2023. We had an opportunity to interview him.
Oh yeah, from Northwestern.
Yeah, they were just raised right. Like, bro was like, yo. He was asking, he's like, yo, my hair looks straight. He's like, I ain't trying to look crazy, and my grandmother see this. I'm like, dog. Like, that hit home, bro. Like, I was close with my grandmother too, dog. Both of them, you know what I'm saying? Yep. So I'm like, yeah, you got to respect. But LJ Martin just, dude is just, like, I don't know if he's been media trained since he was like 5 years old. He answered every question we asked him with flying colors and brought it back. You know, everything was deep rooted in family, bro. And why he chose to stay at BYU. Because he had other opportunities.
Yeah. And Bear Bachmeier, true freshman, coming in for him, wearing the number 47, which is ugly as shit for a quarterback. Yeah,
if
you guys didn't know, he's the brother of Hank Bachmeier. They played at Wake Forest and plays at Louisiana Tech, I believe, right now.
Yeah. Hank is hilarious. I remember Nino interviewed Hank Bachmeier, and they had a short wide receiver. I always forget his name, but he was spectacular at La Tech a few seasons ago. And Hank Bachmeier is just like, Nino's asking him questions. He's just driving in the car singing, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, just thoroughly enjoying himself. Like this kid is incredible. So seeing his brother, you know, have success early on is fantastic.
Yeah, and we talked about Arizona State. I think Dana asked us a question about, actually, she's an Arizona State fan. Raleek Brown having so much success, and then both in their junior year, Udo hitting the portal at the end of the season. I don't think that's a good decision. Raleek Brown has had a tough road up to this point. At USC, they wanted him to play receiver, so then he transferred out to Arizona State, and glad that he's got his feet back under him, because he was a hell of a prospect coming out of high school. For
sure. Sometimes, you know how you see it's only one singular portal, and I think it lasts like 10 days now. You don't have the time to make the decisions that you think you do. As an Alabama fan, what was that, Vandy? Been lurking in a segment or two. Glad to see the governor back. Hey, appreciate that.
Yep. What is your guys' take on Clemson at the moment? Garbage.
We don't talk about Bruno, man. We just don't talk about. We don't talk about Clemson, bro. We don't. I'm so upset with Clemson. I really am. I don't know if you guys heard it earlier. I was at the Clemson and Syracuse game when I did the triple dip, and their fan base showed up. That the way that they tailgate is special. Like I said, it's euphoric. You know, seeing them, you know, run down the hill, Howard's Rock, and all of that stuff, and for them not to show up. And you saw it was life taken out of them after they went down, and Steve Angeli. Damn, I feel bad for Steve Angeli. They drove down, scored a touchdown.
Season.
It did. Because Ricky Collins looked terrible against Duke this past week. But then they kicked the onside frame down, and the game was done after they got that. It was 10-0. I hit Moon. I'm like, whenever you ready, bro, we can head to Bobby Dodd. You know what I'm saying? It's about a 2-hour drive. We can head to Bobby Dodd, bro. I've seen enough. And I think we stayed to almost halftime, and then we left for Bobby Dodd, man. So we don't talk about Bruno. I feel bad for Dabo.
The only thing that I will say, and I've said this before, a lot of the things that are happening with K. Klubnik is, I don't know if it's coaching. I don't know if it's just not feeling comfortable with Brian Wesco Jr. and TJ Moore and not having Antonio Williams for the first couple of games of the season. But I think the real problem is hanging everything on Adam Randall's shoulders and only having Gideon Davis with 3 carries. Like, I don't think you can go through college football with your quarterback being the second leader running, rusher on your team anymore. Like, you're asking a lot out of 𝗕𝘂𝘀𝗶𝗲𝘀. That offensive line hasn't looked all that great this year either. The worst thing that we can do is a quarter way through the season to say that, 𝗕𝘂𝘀𝘀𝗀 sucks, or Garrett Nussmeier or Arch Manning or all these guys, because then from here on out, playing against conference games is what really matters of how good that you actually need to look. Nobody's going to care about these first 5 games. But if K comes out, throws for 30 more touchdowns this season, then everybody's going to be like, oh, well, we were wrong. But, I mean, I don't think Clemson – you're allowed to have a bad year. This is just a bad year for Clemson. It just is what it is. Like –
I ditto everything you're saying right now. It's just heading into the season. I looked at them. I looked at their return on production. I looked at Dabo, and I'm like, yo, Dabo's really doing this his way. It's not like, and we can go back to 2023 when Florida State won the ACC. They really needed help at wide receiver, and there was a kid from East Lansing who was right there to get, and you guys let him go south and let him go to Tallahassee when you guys really needed a wide receiver. And Keon Coleman would have made a hell of a difference for them that year. This isn't one of those years. I felt like that, Dabo Swinney had done transformational coaching. We always talk about transactional coaching versus transformational coaching. I feel like everything was there. And it feels like the Public Enemy song, Don't Believe the Hype. I believe they started to believe their own hype. Like, yo, ain't no championships won in the offseason, dog. You got to go out and play everybody. You know what I'm saying? And it's heartbreaking. I don't like talking about Clemson. I'm refusing to talk about Clemson, and there's people in my circle that get on me about it. But we don't talk about Bruno, dog.
Yeah. We'll end it at that.
Yeah.
All right. So we got through some of pretty much what we're saying is the Big 12 is the place that you should watch your football this year if you decide to watch any football, and this is why it's the game of the week, man. I think since he's flying under the radar for how well that they've been playing this year, Brendan Sorsby and the guys are doing their thing. And then a guy that I think is amongst the nation's best quarterbacks, like talent-wise, we talk about Fernando Mendoza a lot, but I think Rocco Beck could take his place quick, and a lot of people just aren't talking about it.
They're not.
Man, like all 3 years have progressively gotten better, mechanics, I literally thought Iowa State was going to take a step back. And one of the questions that I had was, after Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel leave, how good is he really going to look with these other weapons there?
Right.
And he's taken the world by storm. And he's had some of the best. Just look at his highlight reel through 5 weeks of the season. It's been absolutely fantastic.
It has.
Outside of this game, I think, he's going to be a draft darling regardless of what happens. The one thing that I did want to mention for Iowa State is a couple of days ago, they announced that Jeremiah Cooper was out for the season, and they also confirmed that Jontez Williams was out for the season actually earlier today, which is unfortunate for them to get news in the same week that both of their starting corners are going to be out for the season, which is a huge blow. So how is not only Brendan Sorsby going to respond to that, but how is Rocco Beck going to be able to carry the load? I think that Caleb Goody is going to have a big game for since he's averaging 19 yards per catch at this point in time. But for you, what are some factors that you're looking at in this game? Because I think it's super. Now that we have that news, that made this topic even more interesting.
It did 100%, and I love what you said about Rocco Beck. He's disrespected because I think they won a lot of games in an ugly facet. I think everything that we wanted Brock Purdy to be a few years ago. You remember when people kind of high on Iowa,
he was high, and then he nosedived.
Right, and I think everything we wanted him to be, and even though it's worked out for him in the long run, but everything we wanted him to be while he's in Ames, Iowa, I think Rocco Beck is that. I think where I look at this game, I look at two teams who are playing phenomenally right now. There's not too many better teams in the country than Iowa State. I think they're still disrespecting the AP poll. I like to look at the schemes. I like what Brady Glenn is all about. Cincinnati's offensive coordinator. I love his 8 offensive equalizers. And, this thing is built on tempo. They like to go fast. It's built on RPOs. They love to run 2 tight end sets and balance and disguise the way that they're playing. And the thing that this offensive line is doing, they're keeping Brendan Sorsby upright, right?
Yeah.
You know, we talk about the 10 touchdowns, 1 interceptions. He only been sacked one time this year. So they're keeping him upright. So when I look at things from the Cincinnati perspective, is how well will they be able to move this ball, and especially with the things that you just announced. And then offensively for Iowa State, we're looking at Taylor Moser. They're averaging 31.6 points per game. It's 57, probably like middle of the road when you look at it in the grand scheme of things. You've already talked about Rocco Beck. Talked about Chase Sowell and losing the wide receivers that he lost a year ago. So it's just looking at these schemes. This game is in Cincinnati. I'm not sure if you're ready for me to give a prediction, but like I said, I love Taylor Moser and what he brings to the table for Iowa State. He cocks that 3-3-5, like 3-2-6 flex that he runs. Right down at 18th in the country in defense, only allowing 14.2 points per game. So, and he uses those exotic pressures, buzzword in this media realms. The simulated pressures is what he's been able to do during his time in Ames, Iowa. So, I just like to look at the schemes. You've already listed the marquee players to look at. This is one of those games. Hey, I see that you're going with Cincinnati. I was wondering where you was going to go. I didn't see that. I'm going with Cincinnati in this game as well.
Yeah, so I am going with Cincinnati, and Don is going to go with Iowa State. You're going with Cincinnati as well?
I'm going with Cincinnati as well. The Bearcat fans are going to show up like they never showed before. When's the last time they had a game this big?
Probably the college football playoff against Alabama, where they proceeded to get the break speed off of them.
Oh yeah, that was right. Since Luke Fickell was there, they haven't had a game this big.
We might need to talk about that at another time, but Luke Fickell might be one of the most overhyped hires of all time.
It is, and I felt for it.
On the contrary, we talk about Luke Fickell a lot, but what about Scott Satterfield over these last couple of years and what he's done with that program? This could be a marquee win for him.
It could.
And a mediocre win for Matt Campbell, which is kind of crazy because since he's not ranked, but in our minds, it's like they're playing like a ranked team right now.
They are.
And when they win this game, they're going to shoot up the polls. Like, it just is what it is.
They should. They were a few plays away from beating Nebraska, and they didn't play that well. And
neither one of those teams. That was an ugly game.
It was. That was it a Thursday night game in Arrowhead.
First game of the season.
Yeah, I love this game. I'm so excited about this game. What time is this game on? Will this game be on while we're at Maryland?
Let me see what time the game is. That's a good question. I didn't even check the time. So
I hope it's a later game. If not, I will miss it.
Nah, it's a 12 o'clock game.
It's a noon game, and the Maryland game is a noon game as well. So, all right, yeah.
I know Maryland's at like 3:30, but we probably gonna either be heading there or trying to.
It's Maryland game at 3:30. Is not no.
It's at 3:30.
It's at 3:30. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're
gonna be out the pocket watching now.
Yeah. For sure, man. I can't wait for that game.
So I'm picking Cincy. Don's picking Iowa State, and my man the Governor's picking Cincy as well. Game of the week, guys. Like I think this is gonna be. It's gonna have more implications for both teams, to be completely honest with you, because I could see Iowa State dropping out of the polls if they lose this. And I could see Cincinnati shooting up the polls to like the high 20s if they win this. But Scott Satterfield needs this more than Matt Campbell does. I think the discussion about Matt Campbell starts to get started again as if he's an overrated coach or not. It's kind of got like that Matt Aranda type of vibe.
It does have that vibe, and that's something that I believe Moon was saying. It's like for some reason you want to like Iowa State so much, but like how much do you truly believe in Matt Campbell?
Yeah. I don't know. All right, let's get into our other predictions here, man. FSU Miami. We talked about this being kind of a trappish type game here. What's the outlook for this one?
So for me, you look at this Carson Beck resurgence, and one of the discussions we've had on screen and behind the scenes is that people took issue with the way that Carson Beck was playing a year ago, a lot of interceptions, and this year it seems like some people are taking issue with him because he's more of a game manager. I think this offense fits him really well, and it fits a lot of quarterbacks very well. They're averaging 36.1 per game. And what Carson Beck's 972 yards, 7 touchdowns on the season, 73% completion percentage. They play fast, they play confident. That's what they're going to do. It's like a air raid evolved into a spread, if that makes sense. They're going to definitely mix in some RPOs. They're going to definitely take their vertical shots. They're going to do that 100%. But they're not afraid to run the ball either. We know what Mark Fletcher is doing. Shamar Brown, what he's doing at wideout as well. Malachi Tony, and I know these some of the people you're going to talk about as well. Defensively is where I've been most impressed with Miami. I think they're 13th in total defense. They're 9th in points per game. They're operating out of that 4-2-5, which a lot of teams have evolved to just because of how teams spread the field with the wide hashes at the collegiate level. And I love what this defense and Corey Heatherman, what they stand for. ESV is something that they talk about being exciting, swarming, and playing violent. And I love that. Ruben Bain Jr. is a grown man. How high would he go in the draft this upcoming year? I think it's something that's
it's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, excited for me.
Abdul Carter.
Yeah. I saw that clip he put up earlier too. That was bad, bro.
Every time I watch the 22 of the Giants, it's always a play like that. I just had to highlight that one because it happens every game with him. I'm like, what
dude, I respect your hustle, bro. I truly don't know how you do it. And then all about Gus Malzahn, that smash mouth spread, as he like to call it, that HUNH, hurry up, no huddle offense, downhill running game. Tommy Castellanos, 848 passing yards on the season. Gavin Sawchuk, 234 yards. I felt like he's finding himself in Tallahassee. I think he struggled a little bit. And then Ducey Robinson is playing like a grown man. What do you think he is at the next level? He's tight end and wide receiver.
I think they're getting away from the big body wide receivers.
But
I think he's too fast with the intangibles that he has to not play wide receiver. I don't think Kyle Pitts was the last freak athlete that we've seen like that, but I think a lot of people are starting to appreciate that a guy that's playing the X or Z at his size with that speed. When you have like the Devon Witherspoons of the world, those are the only guys that are going to be able to compete against him. So I think he'll play wide receiver for sure.
How well you think he'll run at the combine, or do you think he'll run at all?
Let's say if he ends up in the top 3 receivers as far as stats, maybe gets a Biletnikoff bid, maybe wins the Biletnikoff.
He certainly will.
Yeah, he will. If he wins, I don't think he runs.
Yeah.
But I think he could run a 4.4 flat right now if you asked him to.
Really? If he runs that, whoa. The sky's the limit. And Tony White has brought that 3-3-5 defense to Florida State. I think they're 28th nationally in total defense, 42nd in scoring defense. I like a lot of what I've seen out of both of these teams. It's crazy that Florida State didn't play well in that game in Charlottesville, and they still almost had a chance to win. But it's no moral victories, and I know you feel the exact same way. So who I got winning this game? Give me Florida State. I think of Tallahassee. You're gonna see the dope look how it used to look in the 90s. They are going to be up and ready for this game. And I know the Alabama game was a huge game. This right here, right now, biggest game of the year for Florida State.
I would have loved to pick Florida State. Don's picking FSU.
Is he?
I'm picking Miami to win this. Look, I think this is a little mixture of what Carson Beck dealt with his only time that he played Alabama, which was only one time. I think people get that confused. And I remember in the second half, he led that almost a historical comeback.
It was a great comeback.
But his receivers that he had, Aaron Smith and Dylan Bell and the rest of those guys, were just continuously dropping balls. Like, that was the story of last year that people just, like, kind of want to undermine with him. And I'm like, you can't look past that. He did have 400, and I think he had over 400 yards, 3 touchdowns, but he had 3 picks in that game too. Here's the thing. Carson Beck against Florida, 3-0. Carson Beck against a rival right Alabama, 0-1. But it really wasn't due to him playing bad. And I think what he's going to do is take that energy, bring that to Florida State, and look at that as this is the ultimate rivalry game outside of, well, yeah, this would be Miami's main rival. Yeah, because with us, we have Florida too. But I would say Miami's and Florida is a deeper rivalry, right? And I think he's going to look at that game like this. I think he's going to be more prepared. I think he's a little bit more mature. And ultimately, he has a better offensive line. He has a better receiving core that trusts him. And the defense is going to be able to give him the ball back. I think Ruben Bain definitely is the X factor in this game. I think Thomas Castellanos is not going to be able to get away with some of that stuff that he was trying to do against Virginia last week. Even my wife was like, what is he doing? Why is he running around so much? I said, he's not going to be able to do that against Ruben Bain and them boys next week. I'm just going to tell you that's not what's going to happen in this game. I think it's a heartbreaker at the end, though. I think it's close, and I think, like we've seen in the past, wide right, wide left, something on a field goal that happens.
Ooh.
And Miami comes in the doke and they upset us. Like, but I'm high on Carson Beck and I'm high on Miami this year. So more than the normal person.
I got you. I got one question for you. When will Mario crystal ball? It's going to happen at some point this year.
I'm going to look at their schedule. Because that's a good question.
Because there was a couple of games. We got the Cal game last year. They came back and won it. They should have lost to Virginia Tech last year.
They should have lost to Louisville last year.
They should have lost to Louisville last year. They did lose to Syracuse last year. They win, and they in the ACC championship control their own destiny for making the college football playoff. So when will Mario crystal ball? We remember the Georgia Tech blurb. He had a similar situation like that at Oregon as well. At some point, it's going to happen, or he's figured it all out. Like,
I'm sorry to say, it might be on October 17th when they play Louisville.
I can see that happen. Okay.
And Louisville is in their house. They had to go to Corvallis. So
that would.
Those tickets are $24.
That's crazy.
Hey, if y'all in the Miami area or y'all want to see maybe a possible upset, grab a ticket for $24 and watch that whole stadium cry.
Yeah,
it's a night game too, 7 p.m. That's gonna be a fantastic game.
That would be bad, brother.
That's crazy. Those tickets are only $24, man. $14 when they play Stanford. I understand that, but against Louisville, who's 4-0 right now, that's a steal.
Yeah, it is a steal. But you know, it's so much to compete with in Miami. I think that's why the tickets are so low.
Temple versus UTSA.
Bro, I couldn't be more proud of you having this game up here. This is a tough game. I think this was probably the toughest game for me to choose.
Robert Henry Jr., man.
Spent time around both of these teams at American Media Days. Talked to, the players that Temple brung. Talked to the players that UTSA brung. Super impressed with Jeff Traylor, but there may not be a coach at the FBS level that I'm more impressed with K.C. Keeler. I'll tell a quick story. There was a time period he was at Sam Houston when they first came up from the FCS ranks to the FBS rank. And I believe they were like 0-8 at the time. He said he went home. His wife was like, yo, the season is going terrible, but you don't seem like you're bad. He said, no, I never seen more fight in kids. You know what I'm saying? He said 0-8, they're still giving their all and practices and wanting to win. He said that's the best coaching he's ever done. And he had a lot of success there at the FCS ranks. That's how he was able to come up to the FBS rank. They played a tough non-con schedule, too. They played Oklahoma. They played Georgia Tech. I thought they played – the score didn't show it, but I thought they played Georgia Tech better than people probably believed that they played. I like the kid Evan Simon. I love Tyler Walker's spread option offense. This game is tough to pick. And of course, when we talk about, UTSA, like I said, I love so much what Jeff Traylor has done there. I'm interested to see who you're picking to win this game.
I had a tweet that blew up last week about Robert Henry Jr. I definitely think there's some respect that needs to be put on his name after all the injuries he's dealt with and having the leading. I think he still leads college football in rushing yards right now. He's had 6 straight games with at least one 50-plus yard run, which tied Barry Sanders. Nobody on ESPN put out that. I had to do my research, and I pulled that nugget out. So
7 touchdowns.
I had all kind of former players retweeting it, Frank Harris and all the guys. So they're super proud.
Frank Harris, that's a name I haven't heard in a very long time. Wow.
Underrated quarterback.
How you like Owen McCown?
Owen McCown is frustrating to watch. He's almost like watching DJ Warner.
I like that.
Like the sons of former quarterbacks.
Yeah.
It's like they bit off more than they could chew. I don't know what's going on with them.
I agree with that.
I'm picking UTSA here. I like Robert Henry Jr. so much, and I don't think Temple's defense is going to be able to deal with that. They're going to get added on to the 50-plus yard runs this week, because if he's doing it against teams like, what was it, Texas A&M the first week?
Yeah,
I believe it was.
He popped. I believe, was it Texas? Yeah, I think it was Texas A&M.
I think it was Texas A&M when he popped that 74-yarder. There was a crazy stat about him in the first 3 weeks. It was like after the second half of those games.
Yeah, it was Texas A&M.
Either the first drive of the second half or the second drive of the second half, he had busted a 70-plus yard run against the first 3 teams. It was a crazy stat like that. But I don't think that train stops. I think he continues. He might run for 300 yards in this game. Remember the Melvin Gordon?
yeah, Wisconsin.
Yeah. And then what's his name broke it? The Samaje Perine broke it the next week at
Oklahoma.
at Oklahoma.
Yeah. I went Temple here, and maybe it's proximity. We are very close at CFB Nation with Temple. We have a great relationship with their program. I'm such a believer in Casey Keeler. I think Evan Simon is better than advertised. No interceptions on the season. He does have 10 touchdowns this year. Jay Ducker. They actually have a running back by committee. I've seen a few running backs for them pop this year when I was looking at some film earlier. JoJo Bermudez. I like him a lot. Yeah, I'm going to go with Temple at home. Hopefully that fan base shows up, because that fan base don't show up the way that they should, but there's a lot to compete with in Philadelphia. But, I can see this as one of those 50-50 games. I can see how somebody would pick you at, UTSA, especially with their run game. And that run game sets up the passing game for them so well. But, yeah, give me Temple in this game.
Yeah, I think it's still a tough matchup. And Temple tried to play Oklahoma tough this year too.
Yeah, that one got ugly. They actually were pretty, like I said, the score didn't indicate it, but being that Bobby died, Temple played pretty well that game. Evan Simon isn't going to lose you a game. Yeah. Might not win you some games, but he's not going to lose you a game. He's not going to turn the ball over.
All right, Nebraska versus Michigan State. This could have been game of the week. The next game that we're going to talk about could have been game of the week. If you ain't paying attention this week to college football, you're just missing out.
You're not a fan at all. Matt Rule, year 3, right? Matt Rule, year 3. Jonathan Smith. I like both of these programs an awful lot.
I never thought that Jonathan Smith was going to get up and leave Oregon State, his alma mater.
Nah, I didn't. I didn't either. But I think they forced their hand. They kind of was waiting on Godot to see what was going on with the Pac-12 situation, and George Kliavkoff, who also was waiting on Godot. I think he was like, all righty, I got an opportunity here at Michigan State. I got this stud quarterback who wants to follow me from Corvallis to East Lansing. And I think it's interesting. Looking at Nebraska this year, it's surprising how willing Matt Rule was to go get a guy like Dana Holgorsen and allow him to run his scheme. It's blended with the air raid concepts and modern spread principles. You and I both know that. Dylan Raiola is extremely talented. I think what they're averaging, like 43.5 points per game. I think that's 12th in the nation, 4th in the Big Ten. This is a tough game, bro. It's a very tough game. This is a 50-50 game for me. If this was in East Lansing, I'd probably want Michigan State. But because it's in Lincoln, I am going to go, with Nebraska. But there's things I like about both of these teams. We talked about Aiden Childs earlier. We talked about Nick Marsh earlier. Both of these teams are impressive, but yeah, give me Nebraska to win this one, especially coming off a bye. They were idle last week, right?
Yep. I like Nebraska, and I actually picked them up at preseason. Picked them as my preseason runner-ups to the Big Ten.
Oh, I like that.
I thought that they were going to be really, really good, with also giving Michigan State their respect. Look, what Adam Childs is doing out there with Jonathan Smith, the way that they played really, really hard last week, and just the way their schedules lined up, I think is very similar to USC's schedule, right? Like just stepping up, you're getting better and better and better in competition as you go. But I gotta lean on the fact that I think of how resilient, and this reminds me of their defense this year reminds me of the Mike D'Antonio days. Like,
hey, I like that.
It reminds me of that. And so I know I'm talking a lot about Michigan State. I actually have them pulling, I guess you could say, the quasi upset this week. I think this is one of those games that is going to shape Matt Rule's whole season, because he's going to hate to lose this. And Dylan Raiola, even though they had a nasty game against Cincinnati, it was week 1, big game, not in their stadium, at Arrowhead. All the lights was on Dylan Raiola because of the whole Patrick Mahomes thing.
Yep.
You're going to really have to be Patrick Mahomes against Aiden Childs this week because I think he's going to be completely locked in. So give me Michigan State in a nasty game. But
I can see it happen.
I love this matchup, though. I think, again, another like kind of gatekeeping game. If you're really one of them top teams in the Big Ten, you got to play us.
Yeah.
You know? Houston versus Texas Tech, man. This game puts a smile on my face just all the way through.
It does.
A team that we didn't think was going to be like super duper amazing, but Willie Fritz is like, I got Connor Wegman playing like Texas A&M Connor Wegman. Dean Connors is doing his thing after literally he just went up the road and transferred. He just put all his clothes in the backpack and just said, "I'm on campus, bro." Houston and Rice are so close to each other.
Right. We right there. They're both in H-Town.
Yep. And then Texas Tech, we talked about them a little bit. Transfer portal demons. Baron Morton. Me and you talked about this before. Like Baron Morton didn't get a lot of respect for what he was doing that last game. Before he got hurt, it was just a nasty game for him. But this is a good bounce back game because Houston's defense is for real. They're making people pay, for sure. When me and Don were predicting this game, we both picked Texas Tech, though. We think this is not going to be a bad loss for Houston. It could shape the rest of their season too, but a great bounce back win for Texas Tech that people really should respect from Texas Tech as well.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you. Texas Tech wins this game, but there are certainly things I like about Houston. Their wide receiver, Stephon Johnson Jr., I just don't hear enough people talking about him.
Yeah, that's true.
He got 2 touchdowns on 8 catches. He always seems to find a way to get open. I had the opportunity to interview him at Big 12 Media Days. Real laid back, chill guy. Definitely had he was bling blinging out there. Definitely had some jewelry on. But like I said, Houston, I don't think this is the type of matchup that they would do well with. I think that front four of Tech is really going to try to get after Connor Wegman and rattle him, to be honest with you. If Houston wins this game, though, it really messes up my mindset of what's in the hell is going on at the Big 12. But the most Big 12 thing will happen is Houston finds a way to win this game in Lubbock. But yeah, give me Texas Tech. I'm with you, both you and Don. Yeah, Texas Tech should win this game.
Yep, for sure. All right, the next slate of games, we got to
A really
highlight.
good one.
We got to highlight the Conference USA, man. Like Delaware has come out the gate and said, if you thought I thought they were going to be the worst team in FBS this year, just because of the transition. Conference USA doesn't get the respect that it deserves. It's getting more competitive, but it seems like if you want a taste of what FBS football is like, that's where you're going to go. But they've looked fantastic this year. Offense is rolling. They have a really good quarterback out there. And then you look at Western Kentucky, great quarterback situation. Defense is playing really, really well. Even after having guys like Upton Stout get drafted to the NFL, seems like they're playing some really good ball when it really comes down to it. And, Don went Western Kentucky, and I think Delaware is just going to continue to roll and get wins. Another ugly game. I think it's going to be another close one for the week. But I like Delaware in this matchup.
The most impressive thing about Western Kentucky is they probably lost their 2 best players in Easton Messer and Caden Feldkamp, who all decided to go to Florida Atlantic. And at this point in the season, they might be regretting that decision because Western Kentucky is looking good. But, the Conference USA is really easy to play in. And I mean, no disrespect to anybody in that conference. It's just, it is what it is at this point. Well, Liberty probably feels different.
It's a tune-up conference.
It truly is. But I'm with you on this one. I was like, Western Kentucky has every reason to win this one, but the Blue Hands is something special about Delaware right now. So yeah, give me Delaware to win this game.
It's crazy because I lived right up the street. I live right up the street from Delaware, and they've never been this good.
Right. That's the crazy part.
I'm like, damn, and I did not go to one Delaware game when I was there, and I should have. Damn. I had every opportunity to, and I never did because they were just like so bad. Even Delaware State never got a chance to go out there in Dover and watch them play. Nasty work how they put their stadium right there on the highway.
Yeah, I've actually been there a few times. I went to
Delaware
college.
State's campus is right there on the major highway. It's like, what are
Yeah,
we doing?
it is. Like you can see the stadium, you can literally see the highway. Yeah, I went to school in Delmar. I went to Salisbury University. I think one of the things that stick out most to me about Delaware though is how efficient they are on third downs, man. They're 25th in the nation, completing 50% of their downs, man. And if you can, and I think it's all with the success rate game. You and I both know about success rate. They play well with the success rate in Delaware. This fan base is going to show up. So yeah, I got Delaware winning this one too.
Word. All right, let's get into the next one here. Northern Illinois and Miami of Ohio. I'm gonna tell you about this dude that used to play at Indiana before, and it's almost like he should have just stayed one more year under Curt Cignetti. Cam Perry with 𝗕𝘂𝘀𝘀𝗀𝘀. I think he's averaging 29 yards per catch. He is this year's Eric Rivers.
I agree.
352 yards on 12 catches is
12 receptions is mind-boggling.
it's Eric Rivers ish. Like he's gonna find his way back into the Power 5 after this year. 𝗕𝘂𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀 is still trying to find. It's kind of crazy how he had to go back to the group of 5, but he tried his hand at Baylor, didn't really work out, got injured. Sawyer Robertson came in.
Took over.
But 𝗕𝘂𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀, hey, we appreciate what you did at Toledo, and now you're back in the MAC playing for Miami of Ohio.
Familiar territory.
Yeah, but they're killing it. They're killing it. They're killing it offensively. Their record is 1-3, and they've lost games that they had really close competitions with, like losing to Wisconsin 17-0 for a MAC school like Miami is not bad. You put up a goose egg. Yeah, they should have lost really bad to Rutgers. Rutgers is trying to be a legit team, and then UNLV, who everybody has high regards for, losing 41-38 to them. You kind of feel a little bit better than you come to Lindenwood and you smash them 38-0. So, yeah, I think this is a game where everybody respects Northern Illinois and the things that they did last year, but that's last year. That's not this year.
For sure.
I think Miami finally has got their feet underneath them, and they come in and they win this game. And Don agrees with me that, we both picked Miami this week of Ohio.
Yeah, I like a lot what you had to say about Miami of Ohio. That's another friend of the network. Anytime we want to go there, we're definitely credentialed there. And I love that you mentioned Cameron Perry and how well he's playing right now. 𝗕𝘂𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀, 4 interceptions is a little worrisome. I think they're 110th in the nation offensively with 338 yards per game. But I have seen Northern Illinois this year. I've seen them when they played Maryland this year and got a good look at them. They played pretty well defensively. I think that's just something you're going to get from a Thomas Hammond coach team. But yeah, give me Miami of Ohio. They should we should see. I think it'll be a good defensive game. This will be a great MAC game, but Miami of Ohio should win this game.
Yeah. Wyoming versus UNLV. UNLV still trying to figure out their identity. Brand new coach. You got our guy Calandria out there. We got Alex Orji. Calandria is obviously taking the reins as the quarterback
for sure.
For right now with Alex Orji waiting in the wings. But can Dan Mullen continue the reign as they are 4-0 against a team that's still trying to find themselves? But I think the most impressive thing, regardless if we really want to break it down, UCLA is a really bad team.
They're terrible.
But Alex Calandria has played really, really well. 72% completion percentage. He's even got 8 touchdowns on the season. But the one guy that nobody talks about, I like talking offensive ball, Jaden Thomas.
Oh, Jed is real deal.
8.7 yards a carry. Ridiculous.
Jed is real deal. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't see them not steamrolling Wyoming. And if you had to think about the worst part of their team, it's not their offense, it's definitely their defense this year, which is unfortunate because they're known for the opposite outside of when Josh Allen was there that many, many years ago. So
Yeah,
I think we both chose you.
yeah. We're both definitely going UNLV. The thing about Wyoming is they're not a disciplined team. And this statement is about to be oxymoronic because they're not disciplined. I think they're losing around like 70 yards per game, which is 114th in penalty yardage alone. But they're pretty damn good in the red zone defensively. But yeah, UNLV should continue running wild, and I'm loving the Dan Mullen experience in Nevada. I'm truly loving it.
If anybody thought he was a bad coach, I think you're really like.
Yeah, I mean, Billy Napier has been given 10 more chances than Dan Mullen was given, in games.
And that's what people wanted, was for Dan Mullen to get another chance and to get rid of Todd Grantham.
Yeah,
like
facts.
It's crazy. It's crazy how that worked out. Looks like Todd Grantham is out looking for another job. Like they need to like blacklist his name from any coaching hire.
Man, I'm telling you, but a lot of times you know how it is. It's who you know. Oh, you understand our game. We can at least bring you on as an analyst.
Yeah. All right, and then Texas A&M and Mississippi State. I think this one is a closer game than what people give them credit.
This game was in Starkville. Jeff Lebby and them has been very competitive this year, and it's crazy because I think the power ranking before the season had Mississippi State as the worst team in the SEC, and they've been competitive. They've been extremely competitive. But I think you and I both we've already shared the high regards that we feel about Marcel Reed and Texas A&M and Colin Klein and how he's got everything going for them offensively, and just their identity. Mike Elko, I think, had an interesting post-game conference. I'm not sure if you've seen it after last week. He said, "I'm not trying to sound like another coach." Another coach he was talking about is Brian Kelly, with somebody bringing up that they didn't play well in the Auburn game, and they didn't. I don't know why coaches are so frustrated by that, but yes, I love a lot of what Texas A&M is bringing to the table. Give me them, even though I'm a huge fan of Blake Shapen, Jeff Lebby. I love what they're doing.
Jeff Lebby has been a breath of fresh air for Mississippi State, and they play teams hard, man. They again, we talk about those gatekeeper teams this year. Mm-hmm. They're definitely the gatekeeper team in the SEC. If you could beat Mississippi State, you might be legit. If you beat them really, really bad, then you deserve to be at the top of the echelon of teams. I don't know if Texas A&M is going to beat them really, really bad, but I think they win this game. I mean, Mississippi State's got to come to Kyle Field. It's never a great place to play for other teams. I think it's one of the most underrated environments, and regardless of what time you play, that team always shows up. Their fans always show up. It's always super loud. When you play them. I mean, just ask Notre Dame how they felt playing there. It wasn't an easy game for them to walk in or to walk out of, regardless if you win, lose, or draw there. So go ahead and give me Texas A&M, and Don agrees with the same thing. Let's go to the conference where they can't decide if they want to not have divisions anymore, but I don't know why we're still saying
good old Fun Belt.
Yeah, so, the Fun Belt, as we like to call it, an Eastern divisional matchup between Coastal Carolina and Old Dominion. I am really surprised that Coastal Carolina has a win this year, because starting out, they look like the worst team in college football. Mm-hmm. The fact that they came and won against South Alabama the other week surprised the hell out of me. Now, if Gio Lopez was still there, we'd be having a different story.
Right, for sure.
But Colton Joseph and Old Dominion. Colton Joseph is leading in rushing for Old Dominion. He has 8.2 yards a carry. Traquan Jones averaging 10 yards a carry and 4 touchdowns as their number one running back. And Ja'Cory Thomas averaging 19 yards a catch. Yeah, I think this is absolutely going to be a slaughter fest. Like, Coastal Carolina's coming in to really be a roast turkey for them for sure. So
I'm buying all Ricky Rain stock that I can possibly buy. Give me Old Dominion, and I agree with you. I don't think this one is close.
Yeah, let me see what the over under for this.
Yeah, I wonder what the spread is for that game.
I don't know if I actually put it in my bet. The spread 55.5. As far as the over under, the spread is 19.5. Yep.
Yeah. That sounds about right. I would probably take the over.
Yeah. Talking about bets, actually, let me get into so our predictions for the year so far for me and Don. I'm 34 and 21.
Oh wow, that's
So
impressive.
I'm at 618, and Don is 36-19. He's at 654 for the year so far.
Okay.
But the betting is even more impressive in college football. If you have been watching us, guys, and haven't been following the Substack or any of the social medias when I post my bets, you've been losing out on a lot of money because I'm 19-5 this year with a 791 winning percentage.
Ooh, you could be getting people some money, man. They playing around.
So let's go over and get to our two spreads for the week so far. Plus 16.5 for Wisconsin against Michigan. This is a Big Ten matchup. I understand Wisconsin's had some difficult games, but it's nothing that they can't handle as far as defensively against Michigan.
That's a big spread for a Big Ten game.
Yes. I think this is just easy money. Put your money on Wisconsin plus 16.5, and I think you don't walk out of this game that disappointed, right? G5 game this week, plus 13.5 for Arkansas State against Texas State. Put some respect on Arkansas State's name.
Please do.
They're not a bad team.
No, they're not.
I don't understand this spread whatsoever, what Vegas was thinking about. I think these are two easy wins. Our over-unders for the week. Illinois at Purdue, 57.5. Give me the over for this game all day.
It was fireworks a year ago.
Yep. Better team. Barry Odom's going to be able to put up some points on that offense. They've been putting up a lot of points this year. And Illinois, after their loss against Indiana, they're just going to be on the warpath the rest of the year.
Yeah, that was BTA. That was bad.
Yeah. And we talked about the G5 matchup of Coastal Carolina and Old Dominion. Just because I think they're going to win by a lot, I actually think it's going to be under. I think
you think it's going to be under?
54 and a half. I don't know. I put 54.6, but it's 54 and a half.
It's 54 and a half. Okay.
Under 54 and a half. I think, Old Dominion will go up like 35 and Coastal Carolina maybe have 10. And
I see what you're saying.
You got 45 points right there. So.
That's the mop-up duties.
Yeah. I don't know if Old Dominion's going to smack them down all game long, but they'll smack them pretty good and get out of there. Sometimes you got to stay conservative with some of these picks. We were perfect last week. We were 6-0. So. But
what was your money line pick?
My money line pick, Georgia versus Kentucky, gave you an easy one there.
Yeah, that's what I have down for my money line pick as well.
And then my G5 money line pick is Ohio over Ball State.
That's it. Yeah, that's
Parker Navarro is my favorite quarterback in college football right now.
Yo, I've heard quite a few people say that. D now has the same thought as well.
Yeah. If you ain't been watching Parker Navarro play, if he was healthy against that Ohio State team, that game would have been way closer. He hurt his shoulder
definitely would have been different. They actually should have beat. Was it Rutgers? They should have beat earlier in the year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's where he first started experiencing that injury, and then Ohio State came out the gate just rushing him, and he hurt his shoulder and was out for part of that game. He was actually in and out of that game. Their defense played really, really good against Ohio State. And then if Parker Navarro was in there offensively, they could have drove the ball down the field. I'm not saying they would have won against Ohio State. If anybody picked that as their upset, that would have been crazy. But Ball State might get smacked up this week. And I like Ball State defensively this year too. But it is what it is.
That game's going to get out of hand, brother.
Hey, just some easy picks for you guys. Hey, if you got an extra $50, make a parlay. Put all those games on your parlay spread this week. We might walk out of this week another 6-0, but 19-5 this year.
That's crazy.
791.
Hey,
a lot of people say cap, and I'm like, I say this every single week. Just come to the show.
It's here. It's recorded. It's dated, bro.
Tuesdays every single week. You could have put your bets in. But that's it for our show, man. This show was absolute fireworks. We got through it. Got through a lot of different topics. Had a lot of good discussions this week, man. So I definitely appreciate you coming on.
Hey, man, no doubt. It's been a blast, man. I love talking with like-minded individuals who just care to push the sport forward, man. It's been a blast. Yeah.
It is one of those things where, you can't cap when you talk about this. You got to watch the games. It always blows my mind when people are like, I love football, but then I'll be in my bed at 2:00 in the morning watching Fresno State play, and they could be beating down whatever team. I'm just trying to figure out who the good players are. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Who's gonna be? Dang, that dude might move up in the transfer portal one day. You know what I'm saying? Those are the 1%ers thinking.
Yeah, nah, you gotta love this thing. If you're gonna talk about it, like, I know you're the same way. I can't do something halfway do it. I'm either gonna do it or I ain't gonna do it at all, man. And that's what it takes to be elite like you are. You know what I'm saying, in this thing, to do it all the way.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm elite, but I'm just trying to progress the sport in my little space. It always makes me laugh when I see people like you and others that I respect in the game don't have just thousands of people watch them every week. But I guess people just like cheerleaders for their teams, I guess. But
yeah, I mean, you gotta think about it. There are more casual fans and casual followers of the sport, so they're gonna, you got to dig in the crates a little bit. You know what I'm saying? To find us, you got to dig in the crates. And you know what? I like it that way. And the people who are following us, you know what I'm saying, and watching us on this journey, they'll be able to say, hey, I remember when they first started, bro. You know what I'm saying? And that's the best thing about it.
Yeah. Well, the thing is like, like when I put something on social media, like, hey, man, I told you so. And then I'll link it or, done this. It's not to be like, hey, everybody look at me.
Right.
But it's to put out there that like media like us are getting this stuff right more than the other side of this. And it's just to throw proof back in everybody's face, like, come and check us out. That's why I respect Josh Pate so much. Josh Pate did it from the mud. But
yeah, he did.
Even now, you can kind of see like kind of a little SEC heavy, my guy. A little bit,
yeah. I'm sure he's aware of that. Like even when he picks the places that he go, but yeah, he definitely got it out the mud, and that's why I think a lot of us respect him so much. You know what I'm saying? But because he certainly did it, and he's bringing more eyes to the sport now. You see, he's blossoming. He's doing I think it's called the locker room on Thursdays with Bussin' with the Boys, and then he's also on ESPN. I think it's Get Up. I remember when ECG said 400 subscribers. I always knew you go far, and he ain't close to being done. Hey man, agreed, 100%.
Hey, I like when we get to Maryland, I just like being down and watching these guys work, man, from any level of football. That's why you see me out at the the high school games at the end of the day too. So
hey, the high school games be lit, man.
Yeah, it's actually funny when we go to the Maryland game. We got to meet up with my boy Authentic that covers the Giants. He actually records video for
does he?
For Maryland. So he does all their like professional videos that they put on YouTube and all that. So I finally get to meet him in person, which I met through doing this. So
for real? Oh no, that's the type of people you get to talk to, and then people will be excited to see us when they see us. Like we was right next to the camera dude that do everything for Kennesaw State. We was looking at the camera like, damn. And the way they had it set up, they got it like, like if you've been on the sideline, you've been on plenty of sidelines. Like ESPN got this little like automobile that they try the camera on. They be yelling at people, get out the way. Like the way Kennesaw State said, you don't need none of that. They just basically, perfectly like at the level that they're, because they got an open press box. Like, dude, all you gotta do is pan left, pan right. Zone when it's time to zone, bro. It's beautiful.
Oh, that's dope. That's dope. Yeah, can't wait. Hey guys, make sure you go and check out my guy, Governor of College Football. The social media link for the X is right there at the banner on the bottom. I'll be sure to put all these videos out and make sure to link your channel. Follow us, follow us on social media and all that good stuff. Appreciate everybody that did hang out for this long one, man. We just had a lot to talk about, but for those that didn't get to catch everything, you know how I do. I'll chop up these episodes and put them up all week long. So if you guys missed it, you could definitely catch the edited version of this. So appreciate everybody. Anything else you want to say before we get out of here?
Nah, man, I greatly appreciate it, man. This is fun. This is a lyrical exercise, man. So this is dope. I can't wait until you come on Governor of College Football. We get to chop it up some more, man.
Yeah, man. Hey, appreciate all you guys. We're gonna talk to you guys later, and see you guys tomorrow for NFL Rush as the stats guru is back in the house. All right, talk to you guys later.